Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
This is it. Don't get scared.
Well, hey there. Welcome back to a brand new Flick Pick live show. It's Friday night. The feeling is right. Don't get scared now. And welcome to the Upside Down. Because tonight on this live show, we're talking all about Stranger Things Season 5, Part 1, and no spoilers. I know some people haven't watched all 4 episodes yet, and that's okay. I forgive your sins against humanity, but what else were you doing? Celebrating Thanksgiving with your family and your loved ones? What's wrong with you? Turkey is not worth it. You should have had your ass at home watching Stranger Things. But either way, we're going to talk all about Stranger Things Season 5 Part 1 and no spoilers. I also want to talk about Black Friday, and I think it's finally dead. I think it's officially dead. I'm feeling like it's dead. We're going to dive into that, and I might just shed a tear at some point because it just a part of my soul, a part of my heart has faded away with those optical little discs that you could buy for a great deal one day out of the year, and it's gone. They took it from us. Those bastards took it from us. And then I want to talk about Avatar Fire and Ash, which I might just be seeing this Monday. I am excited for it, but I went back last night and tried to watch Avatar The Way of Water, and I have some new thoughts and some new feelings about that. And then we will dive into your glorious, magical, and mystical questions and any topics you want me to talk about. So get those in right now, and I assure you we will get to every single question and topic. So once again, use the link down below if you'd like to submit a question or a topic or a super chat. That works too. Whatever you want, whatever makes life easy for you. So with all of that said, how are you guys doing? I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I hope you guys ate some mashed potatoes, a little bit of turkey. I prefer the dark meat. Don't judge me. And then some deviled eggs. And the thing you have to realize about deviled eggs is, as a human being, I truly feel like the only time of a year that's appropriate to eat a deviled egg with that little paste creamy stuff, and I don't even know what's in it. I've never made a deviled egg. I just go to people's houses and they have deviled eggs and I eat them. I don't know how to make them. I don't know what's in them. I just eat them. They're delicious. But I truly feel like if I had to, I could probably eat 127 deviled eggs and I wouldn't even know I did it. That's how easy they go down. And that really says something about deviled eggs, and it says how delicious they are. And if you've never eaten a deviled egg, well, what's wrong with you? Please go eat one now. Or eat one as you watch this live stream. I'm sure you have some Thanksgiving Day leftovers, so now is the time. It's appropriate, and I would prefer if everyone watching right now was eating a deviled egg. Hell, I wish I was eating a deviled egg. So with all that said, what do you say? We just dive into the main topic of tonight, and the main topic we need to talk about is Stranger Things Season 5, Part 1. Now, we're going to have to wait about a month for Part 2, and then a week after that for Part 3 for the finale, which I'm hoping pays off. Give me a fulfilling ending that just brings a tear to my eye and makes me feel something. I hope this decade-long series was worth all the years in between that it took to get to each and every season, and I hope it has a fulfilling payoff. And with all of that said, with the last season, which was 3 years ago, we finally got a new season of Stranger Things, and I watched it last night or the night before with my wife and my younger brother and his wife, and I really set the mood in my living room. I had all the lights glowing red. It looked like we were in the Upside Down. I made some popcorn in my popcorn machine to get the aroma in the air. I wanted to dress up like Eddie from season 4. I didn't quite go with the leather jacket, but we were wearing Stranger Things t-shirts to really set the tone and the vibe. And the point I'm trying to make right now is this new season, it feels like an event. And I miss when things could feel like an event when it came to movies or TV shows. I miss those days because now it just feels like the newest Netflix thing happens and by the next morning, no one cares about it. No one talks about it. And then it's gone. Poof, gone. Where'd it go? I don't know. There's no conversation here. But with Stranger Things taking its time with a 3-part last season, some people hate it, but I like it. I like taking my time when consuming my content. And most importantly, as a guy who talks about movies and other random stuff on YouTube for the last 15 years, I like when the conversation doesn't instantaneously get extinguished by the next morning. So when it comes to this show, it truly felt like an event. People are talking about it, they're excited, and heck, I even went to the store. I went to 2 stores looking for the Chips Ahoy Stranger Things cookies because I just wanted a really cool themed night with products made by a corporation. And by the way, I will say this, the Chips Ahoy cookies for Stranger Things, though they are themed and they look really cool, they're kind of like a dark, fudgy chocolate chip cookie with like a red inner core, but they sort of taste like Play-Doh. Tasty Play-Doh, but nevertheless, they taste like Play-Doh. Okay, so let's talk about the things that I liked with part 1 of Stranger Things Season 5. I really thought the scope of this season felt bigger than ever. It definitely feels like the end game, a big finale. And I will say this, if this had happened in like season 4, if they had went with this big of a scope and this scale, I feel like it would have like jumped the shark by the time you had to do another season. But the fact that they savored that flavor for this last season, I liked that because right now Hawkins is under lockdown. It's quarantined. It sort of reminds me of life 5 years ago. Do you remember that? I know I do. But it's a bit reminiscent of that. But what that does is it gives the series a lot more freedom to feel sort of like a post-apocalyptic wasteland, a dystopia. And I like those things because it feels like the limitations have sort of been removed and characters can do the most bizarre, crazy things and it makes logical sense for the town that they live in now. It's like everyone's hunkered down and they're not really leaving their houses and there's a military presence and I like those things. And I think the setting is really fitting for the last season. So those are some cool stuff. Also, it feels like the entire last series, it feels like a war movie almost. It feels like everything's happening in this battlefield. They're smuggling in supplies. And one of the supplies that they smuggle in was like a shovel. And I'm like, you couldn't find a shovel anywhere in Hawkins, in the entire city, in the township of Hawkins. No one just happened to have a shovel, like in their garage or something. You had to have that smuggled in. Anyway, maybe I'm nitpicking, but one small thing I noticed. And also, one other thing that occurred to me when I was watching this final season was all of the characters are 17 years old. But none of them have cars. They're still riding bicycles and shit. Okay, sure, for the sake of the plot, I guess it does drag out things so you can take your time getting from point A to point B. But it's kind of odd that most of the characters don't have cars, even though they're all over 16 years old at this point. Now, another thing I will say, and I've heard this complaint on the internet, this thing we're using right now, it's kind of a scary place, but I've heard this one complaint when it comes to Stranger Things, and please get your thoughts in about Stranger Things down below, and I'll talk all about your comments. A lot of people are saying it's like too big for its own good. It feels like a Marvel-esque TV show at this point. And while I completely see where you're coming from, and 50% agree with that, I feel like that's the logical stepping point for this new season, for its scope and tone. You have to go bigger. And I do get some of that Marvel-esque humor and some of those vibes, but also I feel like they're still staying true to what makes Stranger Things so great and those core characters. They all have the same personalities they've always had, and they've just grown up over the years. So yeah, it does feel like Marvel meets Stranger Things, but it still has those elements that made Stranger Things good. Or at least in my opinion. Now, I do have some complaints with these first 4 episodes. It's not all, sunshine and rainbows, though. We'll get to the sunshine and rainbows first. But when it comes to each season sort of had its own tone and its own vibe. Like season 1 was that classic mystery horror vibe, and then season 2 was sort of a copy and paste of that. And then with season 3, you had that summer adventure comedy vibe with a body snatchers style energy backing it up, and I liked all of those. And I quite enjoyed the Meat Monster quite a bit, but not as much as I enjoyed Dusty Buns singing the never-ending story, which still brings a smile to my face. And then season 4 was sort of like Nightmare on Elm Street. And I think right now I'm still going to stand by this. Now, we're only 4 episodes into season 5, but I do think season 4 is probably my favorite season of Stranger Things as far as like rewatchability goes. Yeah, someone picked up on the subtleties of rainbows. Yeah, thank you for that. All right, so another thing I liked in season 5 so far was some of the character callbacks. You had a lot of emotional beats that I thought worked for some of the characters. Some of the story arcs are paying off. That was nice to see. They definitely leave it off on a cliffhanger. We'll get there. We'll get there. You also had Hopper sort of revisiting his daughter's tragic passing, which I feel like we've retreaded that multiple times, but we did it again. Also, there was a lot of foreshadowing in these first 4 episodes that I'm hoping pay off by the conclusion of season 5. You had also in season, or I'm sorry, also in these first 4, also in these first 4 episodes, it was pretty much what I was expecting with the culmination by the end of it, especially with one character that, you know, we all had questions. What was the mystery going to be? And I feel like it was the logical sort of conclusion to that. And I won't spoil anything, but it did kind of remind me of Bran from Game of Thrones just a little bit, just putting it out there. But one cool thing I really enjoyed about this season was the big baddie, Vecna, the antagonist of this story, which I do have a theory about Vecna. I feel like maybe we're misunderstanding something when it comes to Vecna. Yes, he is a child murderer. He is an abductor of children, and he does come across like it in this new season because he's kidnapping little children, but you know, that's what bad guys do. But I liked when you finally got your first good look at Vecna this time around. He's all juiced up. It looks like Vecna was in the Upside Down doing bicep curls and bench presses. All right, his trapezius muscles are a little bit more jacked. He's on the juice, okay? He's on the Upside Down juice, and I'm okay with that because Vecna looks more like a badass than he ever has. He sort of has like a Thanos vibe, ever so slightly. He's just twisting people's necks, destroying things. He's stronger than ever, and I like that decision that they made with Vecna. But I like some of the subplots. There was some fun to be had. I like Robin. She's now a radio DJ. She goes by Rockin' Robin. I like the location and the atmosphere of the radio station that they're at. So there's a lot of fun to be had. Everyone's doing some kind of wacky adventure. But now let's talk about some of the things I didn't necessarily love. Now, I did talk about some character arcs paying off, but I will say it feels like some of those arcs are retreading familiar territory. It feels like we've seen this already in multiple seasons, and now they're just echoing the same stuff over and over and over again. And it's like, I get it. Can we move on from this? Oh, you're not over your dead daughter, Hopper? Okay, well, why don't you grow up, okay? No, I'm just kidding. But I'm just saying, like, how many seasons can we do this? How many seasons can he have the same monologue? Saying the same thing. I get it. It adds some depth to his character, but I feel like I've heard it before. Also, I will say, when it comes to the narrative, there's a lot happening. Just in 4 episodes, there is a lot happening. At one point, like, I got up to grab like another Stranger Things cookie. I came back and I'm like, wait, where are we? What just happened here? Like 10 other things happened in the course of 7 seconds. And I will say it sort of feels like a narrative overload at times, especially with all the different subplots. For example, you have a military presence now in Hawkins, stronger than ever before. And I'm not quite sure like what their plan is. Like I've heard what they're doing. I comprehend what they're doing, but logistically, I'm still unsure of like their logic for their decision making. Because they do have a presence in the Upside Down. They have a presence in Hawkins, Indiana. And I just don't know I don't comprehend what their plan is. And plus, every time it cuts to the military subplot, I'm just like, I don't even care. I find it kind of boring. It just feels like filler. So I'm not a big fan of it. Though I do like seeing Linda Hamilton as a military presence. I think her character's good, but doesn't really stand out to me whatsoever. So there's that. Also, some of the new characters, I don't really feel like they're adding much. Like you have this new character, Derek. He's like a little shithead character. He reminds me of like little Buzz from Home Alone. And I get by like the final episode, they sort of make him a bit more likable, but I'm not there. I don't know if I like the character Derek. And also, some of the subplots in just these 4 episodes are like mind-boggling, crazy, and batshit off the wall. At one point, and once again, no spoilers, this is just what they attempt to do, so it doesn't really matter. It doesn't spoil anything, I promise you. At one point, they basically want to take a syringe and knock out an entire family so they go to sleep, and then place them somewhere else so they can possibly trick the antagonists of the show, Vecna. And it was the most convoluted plan I've ever seen in Stranger Things. And I'm like, okay, how is this going to go down? What are you going to do here? This is even crazy for Stranger Things. But I will say, Erica, you can't spell America without Erica. She kind of stole that scene for me. So there's that. Another thing we have to talk about is little Holly Wheeler. Now, this is not a spoiler whatsoever. They basically named one of the episodes the disappearance or whatever of Holly Wheeler. And keep in mind, Holly Wheeler, I think at this point in the show, should be like 8 or 9 years old. And she looks like she's 14 or 15. And you know why? Because she actually is. She's played by like a 14-year-old actress. And she's fine. She does an okay job. Though it really does feel like her character doesn't belong with the Wheeler family whatsoever, in my opinion. But her entire subplot, it's one of those things that I'm not quite sure if I like it. I think it's slightly intriguing, and it does something a bit different. But I'm curious to see how the payoff works. And also in that final episode, they do interject something else into that story arc, which at first I was like, ooh, I don't know if I like what they're doing here, but it does make logical sense. So yeah, I don't know. You know, I will say with the Holly Wheeler storyline though, it is a bit creepy, and it does involve Vecna. And it's a little bit odd. Like when I watch things like that, I read between the lines, and I'm getting like weird vibes from it. But then again, Vecna's a creepy dude, so there's that. The other thing I kind of noticed was the Upside Down. Do you remember when that felt really threatening and terrifying, and you had to wear a hazmat suit to go into it? And at one point, they even had bats and other crazy shit that would kill you? Well, yeah, sometimes that doesn't happen for plot convenience. Don't get me wrong, there's terrifying shit in the Upside Down. There's demogorgons and all kinds of other things and what have you. But it also feels like, for the sake of the plot, you can kind of just walk around in the Upside Down and not be bothered by anything for an extended amount of time. So it feels a bit less threatening at this point, you know? Or at least that's my takeaway from it. But I will say this. I'll leave it off on a positive note. I will say the final 10 minutes of episode 4, I sort of predicted it was going this direction, and I think most people did, but I think it was the right decision and the right direction to go, and I'm glad they did it, so that really gets me hyped to see where they go beyond this when we finally get episode 5, 6, 7, 8. So I really enjoyed the first 4 episodes. I almost need to go back and revisit them because so much shit happened where I'm like, I don't even know which direction to look. What is the plan? What are you trying to accomplish here? But I will say I still enjoyed the characters and the dynamic that they have. Dustin's character I really enjoy because he always kind of sticks to his moral compass, and he is who he is, and he has this sense of injustice about him where he defends people no matter what. I respect things like that, and Dustin is still my favorite character. But I will say I'm hoping he gets some vengeance, because at one point he sort of gets his ass kicked. So I'm hoping he gets some vengeance. And by the way, Hellfire Club still lives in my heart and everyone else's, and especially Dusty Bun's heart. So anyway, Eddie for life. Okay, so those are my quick thoughts on Stranger Things Season 5 thus far. What did you guys think about it down below? Please let me know. I liked it. I need to go back and rewatch those first 4 episodes at some point because it was just so chaotic and so much was happening, and we binged them to where I'm like, I need to like go back and really watch them over again. But that's not a bad thing. It just feels like they were throwing a lot at you quick. John, where's my Black Friday Walmart vlog? We're going to talk about Black Friday. Just hang on. Vecna looks like Ultron if he wasn't made out of metal. That's a really good point. Vecna does sort of look like Ultron. And rather than a robot, he's made out of Slim Jims. He looks all meaty. I like it. The acting is terrible. Now, I did want to talk about the acting, and I probably would have if I was a guy who actually prepared for my live streams and had more bullet points to go off of. I just come up with stuff as I talk. I will say some of the acting, I don't feel like the acting was bad. I feel like some of the dialogue was a little bit on the nose and clunky at times. And I feel like sometimes the camera angle, the show looks different than it did with episode 1, right? And it looks more blockbustery, and it's like more in your face. And I think the subtleties have sort of withered away and died out. Now it's just like big, bombastic, crazy shit happening. And don't get me wrong, that's fine for this final season, but I feel like sometimes when you're trying to give a subtle performance and it's just that bombastic, it makes the dialogue come across a little bit clunky. But the acting I thought overall was fine. I just thought some of the dialogue was doing it a disservice. Stranger Things was never good with its character writing. It's always been hit or miss. So many disappointing decisions and getting rid of new characters that could have been great. Well, which new character besides Eddie did you want to see come back? You know, I like the characters in Stranger Things. I will say this. A few little things I enjoyed was early on in the first episode when you're seeing the characters for the first time was Dustin sort of getting picked on by the jock douchebags, and it cuts to Lucas, and it shows him from like the chest, and then it slowly pans up, and the way the music hit when it showed Lucas for the first time, it made him look like a badass. It was like doo-doo-dum, like the Terminator was walking up to save Dustin, and Lucas was wearing like a cutoff. I liked that. I like that they're kind of making Lucas like his personality is he's like the protector, like the badass of the group, the muscle of the group, and I appreciate that. So I like that. Hollywood's always casted adults as children. No, I completely understand what you're saying. There's nothing wrong with like you sometimes it's hard to cast a 9-year-old to play a 9-year-old, right? Because it's a lot of obligation, you have to get them off set after 2 hours, unless they have a twin that can work another. It's a pain in the ass. I get it. But all I'm saying was little Holly Wheeler, she looked like a 15-year-old. She looked older than the kids did in season 1 of Stranger Things. That's all I'm saying. They haven't let me down, so I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful too. I think it'll be a fulfilling last couple episodes. Absolutely. I heard the finale is going to be in theaters. Yeah, I think it is officially going to be in theaters. Now, will I go to a theater to watch said finale? Probably not. I enjoy Stranger Things at home. I really feel like with my OLED TV, my surround sound, I can make the lights all red and glowy. To me, that's way more immersive than sitting in a theater behind a group of broccoli-head teenage kids with their phone out, and then some guy behind me that has the flu sneezing on me. Every time he sneezes, I can feel little water vapors hit my ear, and I'm like, oh. So I'll probably watch it at home. Yeah, but the kids in the first season somehow are like 23 now. I still think they all look fine. They look like old 17-year-olds for sure, but they all sort of still look like teenage kids to me. Okay, the first season of Stranger Things was based off a true story of the Montauk Islands, experiments on children's. Interesting. I've heard rumors of that, but originally they wanted to call the show Montauk or something like that. Originally that was going to be the show, and originally they were going to set it on the East Coast up in Maine, and it was going to have a very strong Stephen King vibe, and even the font to Stranger Things is sort of that same Stephen King font that you see on the cover of his novels. But I vaguely remember that. Okay. All right. I'm just answering Stranger Things questions right now. We will get into everything else later, I promise you. Let's see what else you guys had to say about Stranger Things. it's a misrepresentation of Vecna. I think Vecna is going to have some kind of twist and churn coming up. I really feel like there might be a bigger threat looming somewhere. Just a theory. I don't know that to be true. The characters talk like they're robots. Yeah, I guess that's what the subtlety has died out a little bit, hasn't it? I just ate one. Yeah. The Stranger Things cookies, yeah, they taste like Play-Doh. I never got into themed foods. Every once in a while, when I'm really into something, I don't mind a themed food. Every once in a while. They're always disgusting. They have a lot of food dye and corporate poisons in them, but sometimes it's fun and festive, so I indulge. What can I say? CGI creatures have never been scary to me because they're just done. Yeah, sometimes when it's an overuse of CGI, it kind of takes you out of it a little bit. It's like, oh, they're fighting a guy in a green screen suit. That's terrifying. Sniff bike tires. Oh, we'll talk about sniffing bike tires. How do you feel about Billy being controlled by the monster instead of Billy, the character, instead? What? They never went back to his storyline with his father that was left in the open field. I just assumed his dad was an asshole and that was it, you know? I don't know. The biggest question is, will we see flashbacks of Billy? Will we see flashbacks of Eddie? I don't know. I hope we do, somehow, some way. Do you like Stranger Things? Not at all. Not even in the slightest. I've just been rambling on about it for the last 10 minutes. I hate every second of it. All right, so those are my quick thoughts on Stranger Things. If you guys have more comments, we'll get to them momentarily. But now, let's talk about the next main topic of the video. And that next main topic we have to talk about is Black Friday. It's dead. It's buried. It's gone. They don't just call it Black Friday for nothing. It's black like my soul because it's withering away because now I don't have a reason to leave the house on Black Friday to go buy deals on movies. Those little optical discs that make me feel better about who I am and what I'm doing in life. And what I mean by that is I did go to Walmart. I went yesterday and I went today. Just thinking, just maybe, if I hope hard enough and I go in there and I search high and low, just maybe I'll find a deal that matters to me. And unfortunately, the only thing I bought was floss picks this Black Friday because why? I believe in dental hygiene and I was out of floss picks. So there's that. My best recommendation to you is use floss picks daily. Don't say I never told you. So when it comes to Black Friday, I think it's officially over. I don't like it. It doesn't make me feel good. And I did want to make a Black Friday flick trip video for you guys. I really wanted to do it because if you give me an excuse to go to Walmart and sniff those bike tires, those magical, mystical bike tires that smell of rubber, something about that chemical is intoxicating, I will do it. But unfortunately, there was nothing to buy. They just had the normal selection of movies. There wasn't one deal to be had. Nothing. Nada. Zip. Zero. So I think it's done. I think Black Friday is done. Now, if you want to go buy a TV, whatever, on Black Friday that you could buy any other day of the year for the same cost, maybe even a better deal. And my recommendation is when you buy a TV, wait until like February or March because all last year's models go to they drop down to almost nothing. So if you want to get a deal on a TV, it's always better to do it 3 months into the new year because all last year's models are discounted. But when it comes to movies, it's over, man. Game over, man. It's done. And I'm sorry to say that. It pains me probably more than anyone else, but yeah, there's nothing to buy this Black Friday. But with all that said, I'm not going to leave you hanging. What do you say we go on a little Black Friday trip right here live? You're probably thinking to yourself, John, how are we going to do that? Well, buckle up, hold on, because we're going to Amazon. This is where you buy Black Friday movie deals now on Amazon. This is it. You go to the internet. And now if you want to go on a Black Friday trip, what you do is you go to your front door and it's delivered, you pick it up and you come back inside. I know it's a short trip. It's almost depressing. But there's that. It's sort of like if the hobbits never left the Shire, and that's how I feel. How can you get a sense of what life is and go on this adventure that makes you feel something and you grow as a person and you go to Mordor and you meet a little creepy alien? Anyway, more of a goblin of sorts. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. But now we have Amazon. So what I wanted to do, and if you guys picked up any cool Black Friday deals, please comment down below. Let me know what you picked up and tell me the price on it. We'll talk about it. But thanks to Jeff Bezos, we have Amazon. So here's this. Here's some deals on 4K movies on Amazon currently. You have the Bourne Complete Collection for $44. I was never a big fan of the Bourne trilogy of movies. Was it a trilogy? Was it 3 movies or 4? I don't remember. I was never a big fan of it. I know. When it comes to spy movies, Bourne just kind of always felt boring to me. Rather than call it the Bourne trilogy, call it the Boring trilogy. I know people love them, but once Paul Greengrass got involved and everything was a shaky cam, I was not a fan of it. Then you have The Thing. Now, for $8.49, The Thing on 4K, I think, is a phenomenal deal. That's probably what I would recommend buying if you haven't already. I already own it. I think I own the slipcover for it, too, which is really rare. And then you got Mad Max, Fury Road, which, badass movie. I love it. But I feel like this has been on sale, like $10 for like the last 5 Black Fridays. But if you don't own it, hey, great looking 4K movie. Even though it was shot on 2K cameras, still looks great on my OLED TV. Then we got the Lord of the Rings 4K trilogy. Speaking of leaving the Shire. So $50. To me, I don't think that's like a steal by any means. You got Jurassic Park for $8. I think that's a pretty good deal for Jurassic Park. You get the Harry Potter movies for like $60. You get all 8 movies. That's not a bad deal. Then you have the Fast and Furious movies. You get the 10 movie collection for $68. And my best advice to you is, if you really like the first movie, maybe buy that. But everything else after that was pretty mediocre and trash at best. Especially everything beyond Fast and Furious 5. I can't even watch those movies. I don't even pretend to like them. I think they're bloated ass juice, garbage, shit out from Hollywood into our eyeballs, where the only story arc that you have to go off of is family. Yeah, so I don't like those movies. And speaking of Fast and Furious, did you guys see, and we have to talk about this, the Nightcrawler 4K Steelbook? We have to talk about this. Now, this doesn't come out, I think it comes out, where is it at? Hang on. Here it is. Okay, so this is the upcoming 4K Steelbook of Nightcrawler. Now, if you didn't know, Nightcrawler is probably in my top 5 movies of all time. If you could go into my brain and I could make the movie of my dreams that's, you know, doable, Nightcrawler is a movie that always spoke to me. Like, this is the type of movie, if I made a movie, this is the type of movie I'd make. Almost identical to it. You got a sociopath, he has a video camera, he has a cool car, He's one of those characters that lives his life in the gray zone, to say the least. He's a bit morally ambiguous, and I like things like that. But anyway, my point is, when it comes to the steelbook of this, it reminds me of Fast and Furious. And this just, to me, doesn't necessarily say Nightcrawler. You know what I mean? Like, I think Lou Bloom should have been in front of this car with the Hollywood sign in the background, and like you were overlooking the city, and maybe the car was off to the side, but it shouldn't have a car upside down on flames blowing up and shit. So I don't know. I'll definitely buy it because I've been waiting for Nightcrawler to hit Steelbook forever, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the artwork of that. Steady hands. Anyway. Let's keep going here. Back to the Future for $40. I think that's not that great of a deal in my opinion. I think that'll go much cheaper at some point. Ready Player One, not worth $15. The Rocky 6 film set, not worth $65. Scarface, love the movie. Hey, Bubblehead. Her womb is so polluted she can't have a little baby, man. Come on. Fly, pelican, fly. $12. I don't know. If you love Scarface, maybe that's an okay deal. How to Train Your Dragon for $10. Green Mile for $25. That's not a deal whatsoever. 2001 in Space Odyssey. I'm sure it looks great on 4K, but it's not a movie I'm probably going to watch anytime soon. You got Blade Runner for $13. That's not a deal from Shrek. Friday, the Blu-ray. And then you got Animal House for $13. So really, like, I'm not seeing any phenomenal deals. Maybe Amazon will have some more deals coming up at some point soon. You got Crash for $33. Ooh, that's an Arrow video release. Nah, I'm not paying $33 for Crash, though. So anyway, guys, what did you guys buy this Black Friday? Did you guys get any good deals? What did you pick up? Let me know down below. 3 ice cubes, no more, no less. Yes, indeed. John, have you seen the movie Battle Royale? I have seen Battle Royale. I at one point, I think I owned the Steelbook. I don't know if I still own it, but I have seen it. I enjoyed it. I've only seen it once, though, but I did like it. I love the genre of Royale games. Just people going into battle, trying to survive the environment. I wish we had more movies like that. The Hunger Games was never my favorite of that genre, I will say that. The Steelbook looks horrible. Nightcrawler is too good for this artwork. I agree with you. I do agree. Yeah, it looks like Fast and Furious Part 8. Apple TV has no movies on sale in Canada anyway. It's a joke. Show us your browsing history. I typically do whenever I go to Google. I have nothing to be ashamed of. I don't. I do not. I need a Black Friday Flick Trip video like I need water. Well, you know what? Speaking of water, I think we should talk about Avatar, The Way of Water. And the reason I'm going to bring this up, because this is the third and final topic of this live stream, and then we will dive into the questions. So make sure to get your questions in right now. When it comes to Avatar, Fire and Ash, which I do have a press screening of Monday. Now, originally I was going to go to Chicago. Then I found out it was in Columbus, and I'm in a pickle. I'm literally in between both cities, but driving to Chicago sort of sucks ass because you got to take like 7 toll roads. You got to pay for parking. It's just, you get there at 5 o'clock. There's a million people. It sucks. It really sucks. So I do want to see Avatar. I like Avatar 1 quite a bit. I will defend it until the day I turn blue in the face and become a 9-foot tall blue alien, making love to other blue aliens with my ponytail under the tree of life. And then you got Avatar 2, which I put out a review for. I gave it a positive grade. I enjoy the movie, but I will say this, and I have to say this. Last night, I wanted something to go to bed to. As typical, I don't know about you, but for me, I always need a nice, warm, comforting go-to-bed movie. Something that just takes me to my happy place. And by happy place, I mean dreamland. So I watched Avatar, The Way of Water. I watched the first 30 minutes of this movie. Now, once again, I did give this a positive review, and I still stand by the movie's entertaining, and it's immersive and fun to look at. But man, going back and rewatching it for like, this is probably like the 4th or 5th time I've watched it. Those first 30 minutes of the movie are bad. They're really, really bad. I mean, just the writing is terrible. And those first 30 minutes of Avatar The Way of Water almost made me, like, I turned off the movie. I looked at my wife and I'm like, do you, like, have any motivation to keep watching this? Like, at all? And we both concurred, like, it was fun to look at the first time or two. But yeah, the story sort of sucks. But we still want to see the new movie because it's new. But Avatar The Way of Water just it's hard to revisit because in those first 30 minutes, what they do is, like, the story is so bad. At one point, it cuts to Stephen Lang's character, who plays the colonel in the movie, and he's doing his vlog to the camera, and he's like, yeah, well, if I die or something happens to me, it's probably that Jake Sully character. And I'm just like, ugh, you wrote that and put it in the movie, James Cameron? What kind of tacky bullshit cringe dialogue is that garbage? That's the kind of third-rate dialogue that you see in a video game cutscene to some generic third-party video game that's on sale and it's instantly just forgettable and boring to play. And that's how the first like 30 minutes of Avatar plays. It feels like a video game cutscene with the most on the nose terrible dialogue and sequences where it's just like, I don't even care about anyone. I don't care about these blue Indians on their planet being invaded by the evil human race. At this point, I don't think I care anymore. So there's that. I don't know how I feel about it beyond that, but yeah, it was just really hard to like want to watch the rest of the movie after those first 30 minutes. And I will say this, I'm hoping Avatar, with all that said, I am hoping Avatar Fire and Ash is good, but man, they need to do something different with the formula of these movies. They need to progress this story now, because if they keep dragging their feet to make 5 movies, I just don't think people are going to give a shit. And like, if this third movie is not compelling, doesn't progress the story, something big doesn't happen, and it's just still the evil alien white guys invading the natives' planet and killing their whales to make some kind of elixir that de-ages you. Listen, if I was a billionaire, go kill a baby whale and give me the goo out of its brain so I can smear it all over my face and I look a few years younger, okay? That's the point I'm at. Am I a monster? No. I just don't want to get old looking. I don't think I'm going to age well. I'm going to look like Haley Joel Osment when I get old. I'm still going to look like a little baby face, but I'm going to be old. But my point is, if this third movie doesn't do well and it doesn't captivate audiences, I just don't see how they can justify making 2 more movies. Like, say what you have to say now or forever hold your peace, James Cameron. It should not take 5 movies to get this point across. Dances with Wolves and Ferngully got it done in 1 movie. I'm holding up 2 because 2 movies, but they each got it done in their own individual movies. That's my point I'm trying to make. I forgot Avatar 2 even came out. Yeah, it just feels like Avatar 1.5, but yet it takes 2.5 hours to tell you the story. I'll still defend it visually speaking. It's fun to look at. I like how people have to wait 3 to 4 years between show seasons. I know it sucks. I know waiting like 3 years for like the new Stranger Things season really sucked. But you had multiple factors in play there, right? COVID didn't help anything. So you got to take a year away for COVID. It delayed everything. Even though season 4 came out after COVID, so I guess that goes against what I'm saying. But the point I'm trying to make here is, when you make an 8-episode series where each episode feels like its own individual movie that has literally the budget of a movie with the amount of special effects, and you have to get this entire ensemble cast of characters together, it takes time. Now, 3 years, that's a lot of time, but hey, at least it's here now and we're finally getting it. At least we got 5 seasons of a show, and hopefully it's fulfilling by the end of it. Are you going to watch WWE Survivor Series? Oh, absolutely. Listen, this is what I do when it comes to WWE premium live events. Now, Survivor Series looks awesome. I love the spectacle of pro wrestling. I love it. I actually just bought tickets today for a SmackDown and a Raw that's happening up in Michigan on December 19th. So if you live up in Lansing, Michigan, maybe I'll see you at the arena. But they're doing a SmackDown and a Raw back-to-back for Christmas. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Survivor Series. But what I do is before the show starts, I get Wingstop. I get my Wingstop order, right? I got to get Wingstop and the little corn cobs. I eat them. I eat them like a chipmunk. I love them. I get my Wingstop. You know, I take a psychotropic hallucinogen and I just immerse into this spectacle of oiled up dudes wrestling each other in a cage. And there's nothing that speaks to me more than pro wrestling. I will tell you that right now. So yes, I'm going to watch Survivor Series. You got it. Are you going to watch it? Let me know. All right, so those are all the main topics I felt like I had to get off my chest. But what do you say we just dive into your questions? And we had a question earlier from a longtime viewer, Sebastian, who asked me, would you rather have Mark Wahlberg as Calvin Candy or DiCaprio as John Bennett from the Ted movies? Well, that's an intriguing question. And gentlemen, first you had my attention, now you have my curiosity. I love me some Calvin Candy. But I don't think Mark Wahlberg would have been a good Calvin Candy. I think DiCaprio was a better Calvin Candy. And also when it comes to the character Ted, who is from Boston, doesn't Mark Wahlberg just feel like the right guy for the job? Hey, what are you doing over there? Hey, Ted, come here. What are you doing? Anyway, so there's that. Could you imagine Mark Wahlberg as Calvin Candy? Now, Eskimo Joe, how do you reckon he got his name? And Sebastian's other question was, Tarantino used to ban the use of phones for crew members on set. Do you think more movies would be better if the same rule was used more often? Well, you definitely have you'd have less leaks on film sets, which I guess would be beneficial. That would be nice. You know what I would like to see happen in movies? How about we just pretend like smartphones don't exist? For the sake of any story, it will always make it a better story. I feel like technology has ruined storytelling. It's like rather than a character having to go to another location and have a conversation with someone, it's just like, hey, did you do that thing? Do you want to? Oh, you did? Okay, thanks. Bye. The end. You don't have to do anything. There's no journey to go on. It's over. You know what I mean? Like imagine in The Hobbit if they could just, I don't know, use FedEx to overnight the ring to Mordor and pay some guy to drop it in the volcano. I just feel like the advent of technology has like diminished storytelling in films. And that's why I think I like movies set in like either the very early 2000s, the 90s, or before. You know, like if I ever made a movie, it would definitely take place in like the 1980s or the 1990s. Not only because I like the nostalgia factor of all of that, but you also don't have like the internet. I just feel like it takes away from stories. And I don't like pulp culture references in movies. I never have. I feel like it dates it instantly. But anyway, Sebastian, thank you for the questions, and you get a party popper. All right, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Nickadug. How's it going, Nick? Hey, John. I spent Thanksgiving with the fam watching Ari Aster's Eddington while high, and that was such a chaotic but realistic look back on that era. It's a one-time watch, but for me, it's a good movie. What are your thoughts? Eddington just came out, right? I didn't watch Eddington yet. I've heard good things. I've heard mixed things. I have not got a chance to watch it yet. I think I watched the trailer for it and it just didn't do much for me. I was like, I don't know if that looks pretentious or not. Maybe a little bit. I haven't watched it yet. I do want to check it out. But the premise is during the COVID-19 pandemic, a standoff between a small town sheriff and mayor sparks a power keg as a neighbor is pitted against neighbor in Eddington, NM. So anyway, I haven't watched it yet. I at some point I will get around to it. I will tell you the movie I was kind of curious to watch. It just came out to Netflix that I did not know existed until today. And that was a movie called, I think it's called Train Dreams. It's got like a really good cast. It looks like it was really well filmed. I watched I watched the trailer for like 7 seconds. Did you guys watch Train Dreams, or is that even the title of the movie? Let me know. I think it's called Train Dreams. Let's see. Train Dreams. Yeah, Train Dreams. Here it is right here. Yeah, it's got Joe Edgerton. It's got Felicity Jones, Will Patton. So it's got a great cast. William H. Macy. It's set in a different time period. That looks kind of cool. It's in the Pacific Northwest. It just looks like a fun movie. Typically, I like movies like this. So it's got a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. So I'm definitely going to check it out. The next one, Home Alone with smartphones. Absolutely. Home Alone wouldn't exist if it took place in a modern day setting. But we did get a modern day Home Alone with that little shithead kid, which I wish the Wet Bandits would have just decapitated him and left his body on the floor for his parents to come and find. But anyway, yeah, Home Alone would not exist with smartphones. I watched someone Snapchat the entire Evil Dead Rise movie in theaters. It ruined the whole thing. Yeah, you know what you do when you go behind those people and you go in their ear, "Sir, please put your phone away," and they'll go like that. Or you go, "People are trying to watch the fucking movie. If you want to do that, go home, you piece of garbage." Or what you do is you take a ball. Now, I'm not trying to incite violence. I am not a proponent of violence, but sometimes it's necessary. Let's be honest with ourselves. You can take a ball peen hammer and you put it in your pocket. And what you do is you walk up behind them and first you rub their head like this. You fucking smashed across their skull and their brains leak out of their ear. And then what you do is you go back down to your seat and you sit there and eat your popcorn. Okay, let's go to the next question here. It's been a rough couple days. Please forgive me. And the next one comes from Patrice. How's it going, Patrice? I unfortunately can't watch as I haven't seen season 5. There's no spoilers. You can watch the whole live stream. Just because I do a review doesn't mean I'm spoiling it. I'm just giving you my general thoughts. There's no fucking spoilers here. Let's all calm down. You can watch a review, and a good review shouldn't spoil anything. So, no spoilers. It's okay. Keep watching. But anyway, here it goes. Still watching season 4. Is it just me, or does Will want some of Mike's ass? Yeah, you could say that. He definitely has a crush on his best friend. By the way, Patrice is just my YouTube name. People call me Sticks. Well, Sticks, thanks for the question. Much appreciated. And you get a party popper right to the face. So thanks for the question, Patrice, or as I'll call you from now on, Sticks. The name's Murphy. Okay. Let's keep going here. The next one comes from Robert Giachanta. How's it going, Robert? Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Let me take a sip of this caffeinated beverage. Okay. I enjoyed Stranger Things for the most part. One part that is taking me out of it is the 30-year-olds saying lines like, "It's the Demogorgon!" Like, bro, get a job. You're old enough to drink. Well, I will defend Stranger Things just for the sake of making it fun and intriguing. You know, they're all like 23. I think Lucas is like 24 years old, but they're only 23 years old playing 17-year-olds. So I don't feel like it's that far of a, I don't think like I have to suspend my disbelief that much. I mean, some of them still do look like teenagers. Like, I went to school with dudes that looked 30 years old. They had full-grown mustaches, fucking burly chest hair coming out of their V-necks. And by V-necks, I mean their Hollister polos. And when I went to high school, it was really cool to wear 2 polos. I know, what a stupid trend that was. Cringe as shit. But anyway, I went to school with dudes that looked like they were 30 years old. And I really feel like this cast of Stranger Things, like, they look 18-ish enough, maybe 20, but I don't have to suspend my disbelief that much for it. But anyway, I still like it. Hey, it's not their fault it took so long in between seasons. So as always, Robert, thank you for the question. And you get a party popper. And as per usual, any super chat over $5 or Streamlabs donation over $5, I do give you one of those glorious party poppers right to your face. All right, InHomes25 says, John, it's officially Pigeon Lady season. Looking forward to every upcoming rant about her for the next month. Very funny stuff, never gets old. Well, you know, I don't like to go off on tangents about the Pigeon Lady unless I absolutely necessarily have to, because it does get a little bit tiresome. But with all that said, you know, when I close my eyes and I think of the most disgusting thing on the planet that just makes me want to vomit up my Panda Express that I ate an hour before doing this live stream. And by the way, my favorite thing to get at Panda Express is the 2 entree double orange chicken and chow mein noodles, baby. Oh yeah. But anyway, the Pigeon Lady is the most disgusting, vile thing that's ever existed in cinema. I know what you're thinking. John, there's much grosser things. No, there isn't. There's no excuse for being smothered in bird shit, other than being a glutton for punishment and hating yourself. The Pigeon Lady was mentally disturbed, to say the least. But the other thing you have to ask yourself about the Pigeon Lady, who lived in Central Park and got shit on every day by pigeons because they didn't judge her for some odd reason, but I guess they did judge her because they shit on her. What does that say about you, lady? Your friends shit on you. But anyway, that scene where she takes Kevin to the orchestra, and they go up top where all the old orchestra equipment is stored, and they're looking down, and why doesn't she live there? Like, why doesn't she live in that abandoned storage area with all those old instruments in Home Alone 2? Nah, she'd rather spend her time in Central Park getting shit on. Anyway, we'll talk more about the Pigeon Lady when the Christmas season comes closer. But yeah, I really hope she died a really cold, tragic death in Central Park all alone, clenching that one turtle dove as birds shit on her. Let's go to the next question. But thank you for that. Movies Are Life says, have you seen Men at Work? Underrated. I have seen Men at Work multiple times. Now, it's been a long time. That's the movie with Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen. It's right here. Here it is. Yeah, now it's been a long time. I always sort of liked it. Basically, you have these two dudes who get stuck in this crazy situation. Two garbage men uncover a conspiracy involving illegal toxic waste dumping and decide to bring the whole operation down. Yeah, it's a fun like early 90s movie. Did it come out? It came out, yeah, 1990. And it's like a quintessential 1990s movie. And you know what? Just speaking of that plot, don't you wish we got more movies like that? I don't know. But I kind of would like to go back and revisit it. So anyway, yeah, I have seen it. It's been a long, long time, though. It's one of those movies I probably watched for the first time on HBO at like 2 o'clock in the morning in 1995. All right. How's it going, Carter Lovejoy? Carter Lovejoy says, I heard the new Sisu movie is good. John Travolta finally in a good movie after a long period of time again. Isn't that total ass? What are we talking? It was John Travolta and Sisu? I didn't hear about that if that's the case. But John Travolta, the only movie you need to watch from John Travolta for the last 15 years is the little movie called The Fanatic. I got to take a poo. So thanks, Carter. You also said Eddington is split right down the middle in Letterboxd. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I haven't seen it yet, so I can't form an opinion on it, but at some point I will. All right, the next one comes from Xavier the One, who says, they will come back in 15 years like Chapter 2. That is interesting. That actually, it makes you wonder if like Vecna goes down a toilet drain for like 23 years, and at one point, these older Stranger Things kids have to reunite to take him down once again. Wouldn't that be interesting? But hear me out for a second. Hear me out for a second. Now, Stranger Things is such a popular IP, not to do something with that would be a total waste, right? Now, typically spinoffs usually suck ass, let's be honest. But imagine this. Imagine if in 4 or 5 years they do a Stranger Things spinoff and it's set in the future. And now you have the kids of the Stranger Things characters that come together. I don't know. Maybe that's a stupid idea. I don't know. But they are going to have spinoffs of Stranger Things. What do they do with that? I'm not quite sure. John, did you hear Macaulay Culkin's plot for Home Alone sequel? No, I did not. Maybe I did in an interview. Maybe. I don't know. What is it? Okay, the next one comes from Xavier the One, once again, who says, watch Stone Cold E.T. video now, please. Stone Cold E.T. video? All right, hang on. I'll watch it. This better be it. This is from 13 years ago. Hang on. We'll play the YouTube ads. All right, let's see what this is.
Stone Cold ET, and I just want to order a couple White Castles to go.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again?
I said Stone Cold ET. Rides a bicycle, I ride along, I'm nothing like Stone Cold Steve Austin eating the little White Castle burger.
I mean, it's mildly interesting. I will give it that. That's a good Stone Cold impression. The E.T. gimmick added a little something to it. I didn't know that existed until now. Could I have lived the rest of my life happily ever after not watching that? Yeah, potentially, but I don't regret watching it. Let's keep going. Thank you for that. Okay, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from... Let's scroll up here. Here we go. Carter Lovejoy. How's it going? Once again, Carter. Did you manage to get anything from the Criterion 50% off sale this month? I managed to get Wes Anderson's 4K set containing the first 10 movies. You want to make it a good bang for your buck? Yeah, man, I didn't get anything from Criterion. I don't really keep up with Criterion movies that often unless it's something I really love. Like the only Criterion movie I guess I really need is like Dazed and Confused on 4K, which I already own the 1080p Blu-ray Criterion. So I don't know if I can justify upgrading it, but so I didn't buy anything for Black Friday. You know, other than scrolling through Amazon, I didn't see a good deal of a movie I needed. And that makes me sad. It really does. So anyway, thanks for the question, Carter, and you get a party popper. All right. My aim is spot on tonight. I always aim for my camera lens with the party poppers. All right, Erunder. How's it going, Erunder? Did you come up with these opinions, or are they from ChatGPT? Do you mean the opinions I make up off the top of my head when I'm randomly talking? Yeah, they come from my brain, man. The only notes I take for live streams are ones that I might make 6 or 7 bullet points in my Word document. But typically when I start talking, I don't even look at it anymore. So, and my brain works too fast. I can't read as fast as I think. So no, man, those are just my opinions. I don't know. I don't really need it to form an opinion on movies. I've just been doing it for so long. It's like, I liked this. Let me chat GPT it and figure out another way to say that. I liked this a lot. Thank you. All right, let's go to the next one here. And by the way, thanks for the question. You get a party popper. The only thing I chat GPT are emails relating to work because I don't want to use any brain power for it. And grammatically speaking, I'm terrible. The next one comes from Skylar Wheelock, who says, which Scorsese film do you think deserves more appreciation? Ooh, that's a good question. Well, I feel like Casino gets overshadowed by Goodfellas. I really do. And I genuinely think Casino is the better movie compared to Goodfellas. Like, Goodfellas is good. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But I just think Joe Pesci in Casino was better. I think De Niro in Casino was better. Sharon Stone is in Casino, which makes it better. So for me, I like Casino. I always have. And everyone's like, Goodfellas. I'm like, but Casino's the better movie. It's so much more intriguing. You got the backdrop of old Vegas. You know, you got Joe Pesci just losing his shit. You know, I love it. I love it. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Casino. Have you seen the Fly to the Moon movie from 2024? You know what's funny about that? I did watch that movie, which the best way to sum up Fly Me to the Moon from last year was it felt like the most generic movie ever made that would have come out in 2002. It's one of those movies like your great aunt would like. You know, it was sort of wholesome and fun, and it had a good cast and everything, but it was sort of boring to watch. I think we got halfway through it, and I just was like, oh, I don't think I genuinely care about anything that happens the rest of the runtime of this movie. And I shut it off and went on with my life. So yeah, I have seen it, or at least half of it. The next one comes from Xavier the One, once again, who says, John, favorite Christmas movie song? Oh, I don't know. Jingle bells, Batman smells, Robin laid an egg, the Joker got away, the Batmobile lost its wheel, something like that. I think that was the most dyslexic version of that song you'll ever hear. I'm trying to think of another Christmas song I like. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. I like that. Oh, I like the song from Home Alone. Have yourself a merry little Christmas on me. I like that quite a bit. That's pretty much the Home Alone soundtrack of music I quite enjoy. That's my favorite Christmas music. What's your favorite Christmas songs? Let me know down below. All right, we got one here from Dustin Rich. Hey, John. Did your coworkers at your previous job feel honored to be working with the Flick Pick? Do you ever get free food from restaurants? I wish I did. No, I don't think anyone at my previous job gave a shit that I did YouTube at all. I really don't. And really, you got to understand what I did and what I do currently is so polar opposite compared to YouTube and being dumb and witty on the internet and talking about movies. What I do is so opposite of that that some days I can't even, I feel like I'm playing a different person or different simulated character in this thing we call the Matrix. Like I literally feel like some days I have to become a different person. Now internally, I'm still me. I'm just thinking about crazy weird shit and laughing inside my head because that's what I do. But I'm playing a different role. So no, at my previous job, I don't think anyone cared that I did YouTube. I really don't at all, like whatsoever. So yeah, there's that. And I try not to tell a lot of people that I do YouTube because they'll always like go watch your videos and like use it against you, you know, and it's just like they don't pick up on the thing. Like they don't understand when I'm doing videos on YouTube. Like it's kind of like a shtick. You know what I mean? I'm trying to be funny and different. And they're just like, hey, I watched your video. I heard you say this crazy thing. And I'm like, yeah, it's so they're like, I saw a video of you riding a bicycle through Walmart. And I'm like, yeah, that was from 10 years ago. You know, don't hold that against me. And then they're like, no, it's a new video. You uploaded it 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. But I'm a professional in the workplace. Anyway. Have you ever done a trades job, John? Well, I did work as a project manager at a restoration company that specifically worked with trades. And I would hire subcontractors, and I did a little light work every once in a while, but really my job was to facilitate and work with the customers and hire subcontractors and handle the restoration process of homes after an incident revolving around insurance claims. I know it sounds really boring, but yeah, I guess that was a trades job. And now I'm currently a home inspector, so I guess it's sort of a trades job in a way. It's a practical job, and I enjoy that. But I did work in construction on and off with my uncle for multiple years. That was not fun. The video was legendary. Which video? Ad Astra was a spectacle in cinemas. Nobody remembers it seamlessly. Anyway, Ad Astra was, I thought, instantly forgettable. I thought that movie became like really pretentious and dumb. And the point, and I know they did reshoots on that movie to add more action into it. And maybe I'm wrong, and correct me if I am. But when they went to the moon base before they shot off to like Jupiter or wherever the hell they went, or Saturn, when they were having a car chase on the moon with moon rovers, I was like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen. Like, that felt like such a tacked-in, reshot scene to add more action to their pretentious sci-fi movie to cater to the masses. Well, it's got a car chase on the moon. You guys like Mad Max Fury Road? Well, that's that same shit on the moon. You'll like it. I just little things like that I thought were kind of stupid. But if you liked the movie, who am I to judge? I never told people at work I did YouTube. Yeah, it's best not to do it because then they'll watch every video you do and just, it's hard. It just... Is the Roof Man based on John's life? I will say, you know, I enjoy clever criminal movies, and the Roof Man had a little bit of that in it, though I will say the character of the Roof Man was a little bit odd and kind of lacked a little bit of common sense, but I enjoyed his ingenuity. I will say that. And I will say this, if I did go to prison and I broke out of prison, I would definitely probably live in a Toys R Us. Now, can I live in a Toys R Us now? No, they're all closed down. My next option would be a Blockbuster, but unfortunately, they're also closed down. So really, I don't know where I would go. But yeah, I liked the Roof Man. It was good, not great, but I think it's worth a watch. John, what crazy loser stunt did you have more footage of? I don't have a lot of that footage anymore. I have a couple videotapes I found up in my attic, but the problem is I don't have a mini DV player to play them on, and I might buy one off like eBay if I can find a deal, so I can play these little DV tapes I have, and I'll see what footage I can conjure up. But I don't have a lot of it. I don't. And if you don't know what Losers was, it was my Jackass wannabe show that I made in high school. And we aired one episode on public access, and then I think we all got too lazy to do it again. And that was the time right before like the internet was a place that you could share videos. I couldn't even conjure up sharing these videos on the internet when we were making them. I'm like, oh, we can put them on public access. 7 people will watch them here in town late at night. I watched Wicked for Good. It was great. I talked about Wicked for Good in the last live show, so go check that out if you want. I thought it was fine. You know, I saw the stage play, and I will say if you want like a good adaptation of the stage play, it was fine. But as far as like the movie goes, my same thought process is exactly how I feel about the stage play. Part 1 is good. It's well paced. It has the better musical numbers, and it leaves off on a more interesting high note. Part 2 is sort of depressing, and that makes sense. That's what they were going for. But the pacing kind of feels all over the place. Some of the character subplots kind of just fizzle out. And the scarecrow looks creepy as shit. We'll just leave it there. And the musical numbers just don't hit as well. All right, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Paul N 5042, who says, decade-long fan saying I love you and you're awesome. Well, decade-long fan, man, thank you so much for that. That warms my cold, icy heart to its core. And it's thawing out right now, and my pants are almost wet. So thank you for that, man. That does mean a lot. It does. It always does mean a lot, and I do mean that. I appreciate you guys more than you'll ever know. Because without you, I'm just some douchebag talking about movies in his underwear. That's all I am. But with you, I'm more than a man. I'm a symbol, and a symbol's incorruptible, and a symbol never dies. And I'd like to stay that symbol. I'm a symbol of the people for the people. The truth. So thank you for that. So you get a party popper, man. Anyone who's been watching for 10 years gets a party popper. I only have a few. I don't have enough to go around, so I hope that goes for everyone who's been watching for 10 years. Okay, so thank you. All right. The People's Party Popper. That's what you get. Joker Face 501. John, is Gladiator 2000 great on 4K Blu-ray? I've watched it a couple times. Now, they did have an early version. They did have an earlier version of the 4K that was a little bit too cleaned up. I don't recommend that version. Get the later 4K version if you can. Or was that potentially a Blu-ray? One of the releases, basically, they put so much DNR, digital restoration, on it that they got rid of too much shit in the picture. So at one point early on in the movie, when there's that big battle sequence against the barbarians, like they just went in and manipulated the picture and tried to clean it up so much that they literally erased some of the arrows in the sky. It was an abomination. Don't get that version. So yes, I think the later 4K version is definitely worth it. I think it looks good. So yes, I would recommend it. If you can find it for a good deal. John, I recently saw a video of you watching Predator 2 with Chris. Is Predator 2 better than Badlands? You know, that's a weird question. And I'm going to tell you, it's not even a weird question. It's an interesting question. And I will say this. I think Predator 2 is a fun movie to watch, right? I think if you don't expect too much from it, it's fun. Does it live up to the original? Absolutely not. Can you compare Danny Glover to Arnold Schwarzenegger? No, you cannot. But I think it has some fun. It has some of that early 90s patina to it that gives that rambunctious, crazy vibe. And it has Gary Busey in it. Did you hear what I just said? It has Gary Busey in it. So I definitely think it's worth watching. But I think Predator Badlands, the fact that they actually go to a different alien planet and the Predator is sort of the main focus point, to me, it's just more intriguing. Now, do I wish Predator Badlands had a little more grit to it and it didn't look so digital? Yeah, I wish it did. I think if you could add some like film grain to that movie and change the color grading a little bit and just manipulate it by like 10% to not feel like The Predator meets Mandalorian, I feel like you would have had a slightly better movie that would have appeased more people. Because if you can't have that rated R vibe, that's fine, but don't make it look like a PG-13 movie. Does that make sense? Like, it looks a little too clean for its own good. But I thought it was cool. And I think the fact that they focus more on the Predator's lore, I think that's way more interesting than watching Danny Glover, you know? So, for me, I think Predator Badlands is just maybe... it's hard. It's very hard for me to say that, but I think it's at least different enough, you know? So... I don't know. I'm curious. I'm curious if people like Predator 2 more than Predator Badlands. I'm sure a lot of people do. I almost want to go back and rewatch Predator 2 at some point because it has been like 6-7 years since that video. That's the last time I watched it, was in that movie night video. Oh, the Gladiator thing I'm talking about was the original Blu-ray version? Okay, maybe I'm wrong. So just get the 4K one. You'll be okay. Have you seen the movie A New York Minute? Got Eugene Levy to be in the movie. I have not seen it. I have never seen it. My too wet when I hear Flickinger's voice. Haha, yes, a symbol. Thank you for that. I think I'm picking up what you're putting down, but I don't mind. All right, Dustin Rich says, I watched Cobra because of your recommendation. It sucked, but you can make it up to me by watching Neon Demon. Cobra does not suck, man. If you want pure 80s Stallone, crazy plot with serial killers where he just has a toothpick in his mouth and he's eating frozen pizza and he cuts it with a pair of scissors, that's what Cobra is all about, baby. And don't get it wrong, okay? You got to appreciate shit like that. But yeah, at some point I will watch Neon Demon. I promise. I will. Within the next 30 to 40 years, I'll probably watch Neon Demon. Okay, the next one comes from... let's see here. Oh, Daniel Glassman, who says, John, I never said thank you. And you'll never have to. But yeah, I'll say thank you. You don't have to say thank you. I'll say thank you. Okay? And I'll also say you're welcome. How's that? But thanks for watching, man. All right, we got one here from Enrique GM. I think I said that right. How about the new movie of what? Inarritu and Tom Cruise? Don't ever leave us, John. You are needed. I'll tell you what. If you really need me, give this video a thumbs up because the YouTube algorithm needs that to know that you liked it. Just give it a thumbs up, please. Yeah. Just click that thumbs up button. Just right. Click it. I want to feel it. Oh, put that thumb right there. You know where I need it. What are we talking about? What is this called? Inarritu? What is this Tom Cruise movie? Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Is this an upcoming movie? I don't know what this is. Oh, from the director. Okay, so it's an upcoming Tom Cruise movie. Tom Cruise, oh God, come on. Okay, so it's from the director and is expected to be released October 2026. The plot reportedly centers on the world's most powerful man who causes a global catastrophe, and then he must race to prove he is humanity's savior. Well, if that isn't something Tom Cruise, God complex, self-centered ass didn't come up with, I don't know what is, because I know Tom Cruise secretly really, and don't get me wrong, I like Tom Cruise, but I read people very well, and I know Tom Cruise is slightly pretentious, and he really feels like he's our gift, humanity's gift, right? There's a reason that the man likes to watch himself run. He truly thinks it's beautiful. I guarantee he sits naked in his own theater room watching himself run, just putting it out there. But most actors are pretentious and narcissistic. So let's all be honest with ourselves first and foremost. But let's continue on with the plot. The project marks a genre shift as Cruise is described as a brutal comedy, and it's his first film with Warner Bros. Pictures since his strategic partnership with the studio. Well, that's cool because Tom Cruise, he played Les Goldman or whatever his name was in Tropic Thunder, where he played like a dickhead producer in Hollywood. And this sounds intriguing. So basically, we're going to have Tom Cruise meets Elon Musk meets Jeff Bezos. That's the vibe I'm getting from this movie. And if it's a comedy and a satire, now I can appreciate that. Do I take back everything I just said negatively about Tom Cruise? No, I do not. I stand by it, and I always will. But I that does sound kind of cool. Okay, sounds cool. I'll check it out. The last movie star will never be another one. Oh, no. You can't duplicate Tom Cruise. You cannot do it. You know, the man is a legend. I'll talk some shit, but I still stand by the man is the last remaining star in Hollywood. And I will always appreciate the fact, even though Tom Cruise has hundreds of millions of dollars, doesn't have to lift a finger, the man still likes to push the limits of what you can do, technically speaking, with films, and he does his own stunts. Like, I will give credit where credit is due. If you gave me $20 million, I probably wouldn't do death-defying stunts and fly helicopters through ravines and skydive and do all this other crazy shit. Because no. I'd have too much to lose. But Tom Cruise, he's doing it, man. And you got to appreciate shit like that. You really do. I respect Tom Cruise on those merits alone. Okay. The next one comes from Xavier the One. And Xavier, I didn't miss your question. I just simply didn't get to it yet. Thoughts on Ernest Saves Christmas? Now, Ernest Scared Stupid is probably my favorite Ernest movie. Now, I'm a kid who grew up with the Ernest movies. When I went to the video store, I'd always rent an Ernest movie. Probably every other time. And when they came out with a new one, a themed one, I would get that shit instantly. I still remember Ernest Escapes Prison. That was a lot of fun. But the Ernest Christmas movie, I do enjoy it. And I remember like the redhead girl in Ernest Saves Christmas. Wasn't she the same girl from the movie The Wizard? About the little autistic kid who goes to Universal Studios with Fred Savage to win a tournament, a video game tournament by playing Super Mario 3. Is that the same girl? Anyway, let's look it up here. Now, the thing I do want to talk about though, Ernest Saves Christmas, the elves are creepy as shit. Let's look at those creepy sons of bitches. Oh, here they are. Look at that shit right there. Look at that. Look how creepy they are. Look at that. Look at that. I love it. Is that the same girl? That looks like the same girl from... Oh, no, it's definitely not. She doesn't look anything like her. Okay, I lied. Yeah, I was wrong. But anyway, I liked Ernest Saves Christmas quite a bit, but those creepy elves. Look at that. Oh, it's going to haunt my dreams like it did when I was a child. But I like the movie quite a bit. Good time. I love the Ernest movies. Okay, let's go to the next one here. And earlier, the question for Enrique, I don't know which currency that is, man, but I will give you a party popper. So thank you for that, man. All right, we got one here from the great, the glorious Skylar Wheelock, who says, what do you think is the most unconvincing movie accent ever? For me, it's Cameron Diaz in Gangs of New York. Her Irish accent just didn't work. You know, I'm going to agree with you on that. I always thought Cameron Diaz was completely miscast in Gangs of New York. You could just hear her American accent just wanting to take over. I'm trying to think of another accent that didn't quite work for me. You know, I love me some Tom Hardy. I do. But his American accent always has this Boston East Coast thing going on. Nah, you went there. You went there when my mother was on her hands and knees. Nah. He always does that for his American accents. Worst accents in movies. Let's look. I know there's more. Oh, I'll tell you one right now off the top of my head. I don't even. As much as I love the movie, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves is a great, fun adventure movie with Kevin Costner from the early 1990s, with Morgan Freeman being the glorious sidekick. Okay, Christian. I love it. But my point is, Kevin Costner, he just sounds like Kevin Costner. It doesn't sound like he's doing an English accent. No. Because he couldn't. So that was pretty bad. Okay, here's the 12 worst accents ever in movies. IMDb lists are completely useless. Why do those exist? Let's see. What do you guys think is the worst accent in a movie? Tom Hanks' Dutch accent in Elvis. Oh, yes! Yeah, Tom Hanks in the movie Elvis. How did that go? How did he sound? Oh, yeah! I don't remember it. I don't remember what he said. It was terrible, though. That's a good one. Let's see. Cameron Diaz is on there. Tom Hardy's accent in Venom. Hey, there you go. Natalie Portman's accent in V for Vendetta. I didn't mind her English accent. I don't know. Maybe it's because I had such a crush on Natalie Portman. I didn't give a shit what she sounded like. I was really mad that they shaved her head, though. I don't know. We'll go with those for now. If you guys have one, let me know. Keanu Reeves' accent in Dracula. Whoa, Dracula. Yeah, fair enough. You know what the truth is? Keanu Reeves didn't always have that surfer West Coast accent. That's a shtick. He added that to himself to separate himself in Hollywood. You have to understand things like this. At one point, Keanu Reeves didn't actually sound like that. That is something that he developed. So there's that. Oh, whatever. Awkwafina's accent in every film. Yeah, what are you doing? Come here. I'm going to talk like Danny DeVito. She always sounds like this. She sounds like an old lady from Brooklyn. Dustin Rich says, have you ever noticed nearly every time an attractive female enters the Hollywood system, they end up a skeleton with plastic surgery? What's up with that? Well, Hollywood is a cesspool of mentally ill, diseased people. And eventually, when you sell your soul to the devil himself to make it in Hollywood, because that's essentially what you have to do to get by, they suck your soul away. So thus, you become a skeleton looking like you're wrapped in duct tape. I don't know what it is, man. They're all taking the same kind of drug or something in Hollywood. You know, they're taking the substance, to say the least. There's definitely an epidemic going on in Hollywood. And it's called a lack of carbohydrates and protein. That's my favorite Robin Hood movie. Oh, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. What the hell is that? Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves is one of my favorite movies of all time. The theme song by Bryan Adams, we played at my wedding. That's how much I enjoy it. My wife walked down the aisle to Bryan Adams' theme song from Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. I'm a fan. Trust me. And when they build the hideouts in Sherwood Forest and Robin and Prince of Thieves, where they have the catwalks made out of wood and all the tree houses, oh, I wanted to become one of Robin Hood's merry men. I would have went there and just, I'm not paying taxes. I'm going to go live in the woods. Blown Away, either Tommy Lee Jones or Jeff Bridges. You mean their accents in the movie? I don't think I've seen Blown Away. All right. The next one comes from Stephen Knight, who says, "Hey John, Think you and 3C could do a joint stream? Yeah, you know what? I've been meaning to do that for a long time. The thing is, and I have talked to him about it. He said he'd do it. I would like to have 3C here on the live stream. And I just hope that I told him, I was like, if you come on my live stream, you're not allowed to be PG-13, okay? All right? That's my only request. I was like, I know who you really are deep down inside. And I was like, you need to be yourself. I love that guy. He's a great guy. And you should check him out on YouTube if you haven't already. Makes good stuff. Yeah, I would like to have him on a live stream. But the thing is, when it comes, first and foremost, I'm too stupid to figure out how to do it. So I got to figure out how to do that, to have his video and audio in here. I know I can use StreamYards, and maybe I will use StreamYard, but I got to pay a subscription. It's stupid. So I'm going to try to do that at some point. The other thing is, if you have someone else on your live stream, both of the schedules have to work out. Then you got to get on at a certain time and a certain day. And it's such an ordeal. And for me, I like live streams to be free flowing. I like to do them when I want to do them. And typically that's every Friday at 8 o'clock. So I guess I could just have them on next Friday at 8 o'clock and make life easy, couldn't I? At some point, I promise you I will have 3C as a co-host on one of the live streams, okay? At some point soon, I will try to do that. I also wanted to have my buddy Austin Burke on one of these, because believe it or not, I do get tired of hearing my own voice, and I'm sure you guys do too. All right. All right, you can also use OBS or Zoom. I know. Oh, I use Streamlabs OBS, man. It's I don't know how you would add a person to it. All right. 3C is more funny and more consistent. Definitely more consistent. I don't know if he's more funny. I really don't. I disagree with that. Maybe for like sophomore humor that caters to children who only watch comic book movies and have never seen other great movies that predate 2010. Maybe. I have a dry, dark humor, and I think it goes over some people's heads that are younger, and that's okay. That's okay. All right, let's keep going here. Ask AI if it can tell you how to set it up. AI is not useful for anything that you need it to be useful for. If you use ChatGPT to actually give you instructions on how to do something, it just gives you shitty instructions. Like, it never works. John, what is your favorite movie soundtrack? Well, I'm glad you asked. I don't know. If it comes to soundtracks, I think the 1995 Mortal Kombat soundtrack still always gets me pumped up and excited. Like, as much as I enjoyed hearing it as a kid, hearing it now is like that like epic EDM music mixed with like metal. I like that quite a bit. Plus the Mortal Kombat theme alone just gets me excited. Every time I hear it, I got to do a cartwheel and a scissor kick. But like I liked the Dark Knight trilogy soundtrack quite a bit. If I had to pick like an orchestra sounding soundtrack, but I like shit like Inception. I like the Interstellar soundtrack. Sometimes that's really therapeutic and relaxing to listen to, especially like on a summer night when you're driving down the road, looking up at the stars. You got the Interstellar score playing on the back. It's like I'm driving into the stars. And love conquers all. All right, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Skylar Wheelock, once again, who says, what is the dumbest scene in an otherwise great movie? In Wolf of Wall Street, the plane crash subplot came out of nowhere and went nowhere. The Batman, why does the Riddler's live stream audience have a perfect green screen lighting and Twitch editing? Yeah, you know, for like an underground, like dark web live stream where you're like buying guns and ammo and bombs and explosives, it's just like, it's like, hey guys, thanks for the super chats. How about we take over Gotham City next Tuesday? What do you say? Yeah, it was pretty stupid. And the plane scene in Wolf of Wall Street, I didn't mind it too much. I'm trying to think of another dumb scene in like a big movie. You know what I never liked? The subplot. You know what was a dumb subplot, and it's always bothered me with The Dark Knight. Now the subplot where they want to put transistor devices, like sonar devices, in Gotham City that show you a visual location based on sound waves. That way they can catch the Joker. And then Lucius Fox, played by Morgan Freeman, is like really offended by this. Like, he's like, I'll make a tumbler with missiles and machine guns on it, and you can crush police cars in the streets of Gotham, and I'll make other devices and bombs and things like that. But no, spying on people's cell phones, we've went too far, Mr. Wayne. We've went too far. And I'll do it just this once, though, and then I'm going to retire. It's like, what was that all about? That felt a little forced, did it not? I don't know. And by the way, did they sell the cell phones with these devices in them, or add them to the cell phones, or somehow like did they update the phones with this sonar device? How did that work? I'm not quite sure how that worked. Anyway, let's keep going here. Xavier, I walked so 3C could run. Okay? I'm his true inspiration. All right, let's keep going here. Hey, John, I watched all of your Black Friday videos last night. It was interesting to see you go from a pale, skinny, creepy alien to a jacked up, yelling meathead to your current self now. Well, thank you for that. Thank you so much for that. I like to transition every 5 years. I'm like a moth, you know? I go from a little, whatever a moth is, a caterpillar to a moth to a butterfly, back to a caterpillar. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. But thank you for that. You know, sometimes I go down the rabbit hole watching old YouTube videos, and I'm like, who is that guy? You know, there's something about it, though. I like it. And sometimes I'm like, oh, you said some funny shit every once in a while, you know? So, I'm glad they exist, and I'm glad people can still watch them. And speaking of Black Friday, if for nothing else, I'm glad those Black Friday videos exist. That way I can go back and relive history, because I'm going to be honest with you guys, life was better 10 years ago. Society was better 10 years ago. Things were just more enjoyable 10 years ago. And I hate to tell you that now if you're coming of age, but you missed out on the best time in history. Technology and social media were like kind of here, and you could use them if you wanted to, but they didn't inundate your entire life with stupid shit. Like you had to like go out of your way to watch YouTube videos and go to social media. No one really gave a shit about like Instagram or TikTok. Or TikTok didn't even exist. It was so much better. But you had like Twitter, you know, it's like if you wanted to, you could go there, but no one really cared. But the cool thing about Black Friday then was it like you had a reason to leave the house. I miss it. I just want a reason to leave the house. I guess that's all I'm saying. But my point is, it's nice to have those videos to go back and relive those times. And I'm glad if for anything else I got to document them. And for the rest of eternity, you guys can go watch Black Friday Flick Trip videos, and you can see what Black Friday was like and all about. It was truly fun. It was mildly intoxicating, and once again, I miss it. I do. Now what am I going to do on Black Friday? Save $3 on a vacuum cleaner that I can buy for cheaper on Amazon? No. Okay, the next one comes from Dustin Rich says, sometimes I think you're an example of masculinity, and then I remember you like Wicked and Bryan Adams. Well, that's the thing. You know, you can be a symbol of masculinity, but also like shit that goes against the grain. And I think that's unique, and I think that's what most people should do. It's okay to like weird shit that goes against the grain. I like musicals if they're good musicals. I guess what I'm saying here is if art is entertaining and well done to a certain degree, I appreciate it and I like it. You know, and I think anyone who talks about movies If you don't have that ability, then you should not be talking about movies because you lack the substance and the ability and the cognitive function to do so. So there's that. But Bryan Adams is fucking great, man. I'm sorry. If you don't like Bryan Adams, that's on you. That's your problem. You lack taste. We'll just leave it there. And if you haven't listened to Bryan Adams, listen to some right now. If it doesn't make you feel good about who you are and what you're doing, then I guess that's on you. But I love me some Bryan Adams, baby. What do you listen to? Modern day bullshit music that trends for 3 minutes? Made with auto-tune by some no talent hack nobody? Who has a mumble mouth? No. Let's keep going. Oh, Goodbye Horses is great. Goodbye Horses. Now, if you don't know what that song is, it's from Silence of the Lambs, where Buffalo Bill tucks his man parts between his legs and he dances around. Did you like High School Musical? I never watched it. Listen, I like good musicals. I don't like that, okay? I said good musicals. Watching those old videos is like having a time machine. Yeah, I know, man. Listen, sometimes I go back and revisit my old videos and it's just like, it feels like another lifetime ago. And one day, if I have children, I'm going to set them down and be like, here's who I am as a person. Watch this. Witness me. And then they're instantly going to lose respect for me. And that's okay. 2015 to 2018 was peak movie YouTube. Oh, I completely agree with you. I would say 2014 to 20, I'll give it to 2018, though for me it started to feel less cohesive and less of a community and like at the end of 2017. But yeah, man, those 4 years were 4 great, glorious years on YouTube. They really were, and I miss it so much. But hey, I was there. I lived it. I made videos. So there's that. But the unfortunate thing nowadays, and if you guys are content creators, it's harder than ever. They say it's easier than ever, but in my opinion, it's harder than ever. Because the thing is, and the biggest detriment for me that sort of makes me depressed, and the reason I don't make a lot of videos is I like to think about what I'm going to say sometimes before I say it. And I like to watch a movie and think about it for like a day and go, okay, let me conjure up my thoughts on this. But if you don't see a movie 3 weeks ahead of time and shit out a video, and it doesn't matter. It like the time span that a video exists on the internet is like 12 hours. So if you don't get it out instantaneously, people don't care anymore. They've moved on. And I just don't like how conversations die so quickly. It's really depressing. Nothing lives on anymore. It's all just disposable content. And I like to treat YouTube videos like precious content. If I take my time to make something, I want it to matter. So we've moved on from that. And I feel like movies are following suit. It feels like movies are now just becoming content. Let's crap this out. You'll watch it once, never again. So I think there's a parallel there. And I don't like it. And I notice patterns. And I think that's a pattern. 2011 was the best year of my life. Hey, fair enough, man. I think the best year for me when it comes to like YouTube and social media was like 2014, 2015. I'll throw 2016 in there a little bit. Yeah. Have you seen those dumb AI movie recap channels? If something looks like it was clearly made with AI, I don't watch it. That's called junk. I call that junk. Get the junk out of here. 25 years of Xbox thoughts. Xbox, I was talking to my buddy the other day. And by the way, I started playing this new game on the Xbox called Arc Raiders. Have you guys played it? It's like an extraction type RPG game. It's okay. It's a little clunky, but it's kind of fun. So anyway, I was talking to my buddy about Xbox, and back in like 2006, 5, 2007, 8, on Xbox Live, you used to have the ability to actually have video chats with people. You could play Uno with people with a video camera. And I will say Not me. I didn't partake in this, but I had people that I knew that partaked in this. The shit that they would do on Xbox Live with their video cameras, if you did that now, I feel like the FBI would be knocking at your door and it would be all over the internet. And you just couldn't get away with some of the stuff you used to be able to do on Xbox Live. Just putting it out there now. So there's that. But yeah, the only thing I do on Xbox is I talk to a couple friends. When it comes to playing games online, I mute everyone else in the chat. I don't want to listen to anyone else's voice. I don't care. You have like a squawking little kid on there with a high-pitched voice that sounds like nails on a chalkboard. And I don't want to hear that shit. I don't even care. That's where I'm at with Xbox Live. I said hi to Ellis at a comedy club recently. Oh, Mark Ellis? That's cool, man. How was it? I haven't talked to that guy in a long time. I've met him multiple times. I went to his apartment. I went to one of his comedy shows once. It was really entertaining. He's always a really nice guy. I don't know what he's up to, though. I really haven't seen anything from him in a long time. Arc Raiders is huge in the gaming community. Yeah, it's a fun game, but it's one of those games where you just level up for the sake of leveling up. And at some point, it's like, okay, I'm leveled up. Now let me go find more shit to level up. And for me, those games have never been that replayable. To me, it just feels like almost tedious. Like, I like looting and looking for stuff, but I wish this story had more to offer as to why I should do that. Yeah, the only reason I've had Xbox Live for a long time, and for a while I didn't even pay the subscription because you didn't need it. But to like play with your friends now, you have to have the Xbox Live subscription to like invite them to parties, which is really stupid. Okay, Xavier, I'm going to get to your question here. I don't see your question, but I'll keep looking. If you have it, type it in the normal chat and we'll read it. Here we go. Okay, here it is. Okay, never mind. Okay, here it is. Okay. Side Mike says, thoughts on the bounce on it meme from Nosferatu. Bounce on it meme? I don't know what that is. I'm not cool enough. Bounce on it meme, Nosferatu. Is this Johnny Depp's daughter or something? I don't know. Babe, please have sex with me. I'm so horny. I must sell real estate. You must bounce on it. Crazy style. Was that in the movie? I don't remember that. I don't remember that. I don't remember that at all. What is that from the movie? I don't know. I don't remember it. Okay, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Alan Smithy. How's it going, Alan Smithy? Let's get to the question here, and I hope it's a good question. Hey, John, nice shirt. Well, thank you for that. Frank Darabont directed episode 3 of Stranger Things new season. Have you seen The Mist? What's your opinion of the wacky ending? Well, first and foremost, thank you for the question. You will get a glorious party popper. And by the way, let's just reenact The Mist, shall we? Okay, well, it looks pretty misty. Let me just kill my whole family rather than wait 5 more minutes. And now I have a lot of self-doubt. But yeah, I liked the movie. I liked The Mist quite a bit. I've only watched it once. It's one of those dark endings that's really edgy and dark. But for me, it's hard to relate to. I'm like, you could have done something else. Like, you're not going to just wait a few extra minutes. But anyway, I think that's what it took, though, for the mist to clear up. He had to make an irrational decision. And was the mist all in his mind? Did he need to just kill his family, or was the mist a real thing? Were the demons in his head or out in reality? That's a question every man has to ask himself. But anyway, thank you for the question. You get a party popper. No, it's a good movie. Skylar Wheelock says, you've been put in charge of remaking an action movie. What is the movie you're remaking, and what is the most controversial recasting choice? That's all. You just threw a lot at me. Xavier the One, I talked about my favorite Christmas song earlier. I talked all about it, man. We talked about this. So anyway, okay, that's a loaded question. Which action movie would I remake? So, like, I don't want to pick a good action movie. I have to pick a shitty action movie. I don't want to, like, you don't want to remake a good one because everyone's going to hate you. Like Edgar Wright, he remade The Running Man. Now, it was more accurate to the story of The Running Man from Stephen King, but he kind of made a generic, forgettable pile of nothingness, didn't he? So I'm trying to think of like an action movie that should be remade. Let me think. Let's see. Action movies that should be remade. Let's see what we got. Well, we're getting a new Masters of the Universe, so there's that. I think Spawn could do from a good remake. I like Last Action Hero. I don't want to see that remade. Let's see. Spartacus? Okay. How about League of Extraordinary Gentlemen? I feel like I could remake that movie better for $7 in my backyard. The Last Starfighter. You know what movie always had a cool concept that I feel like could be remade into another movie? Was Stargate with Kurt Russell. Now, I'm not crapping on the movie. I remember seeing Stargate in theaters with my dad. But I always thought like Stargate, if you remade it now, there's so much more you could do with it. Now, I don't want to, like, let's just pretend like the TV series doesn't exist. But I feel like with Stargate, you could do a lot with it. And I wouldn't want to necessarily just go back to Egyptian times or what have you. I feel like we could go to multiple different universes in Stargate. And I think that'd be really fascinating. So I think the concept of Stargate, you could do a lot with it. Let's see. John, did you play any of the Rock Band Hero games? Not really. I never had the coordination to play the guitar for some reason on Rock Band. And what is the most controversial recasting choice? I don't know. I'm sure they recast somebody that was controversial. Let's see. Controversial recasting. Remember when they said Idris Elba was going to be the new Batman? Let's see. How about Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk from Edward Norton? Oh, I remember when they recast Tom Hardy in Mad Max for Mel Gibson. I still would have liked to see Mel Gibson come back and play old man Mad Max. I still think I still think they could do that. Oh, I'll tell you a big downgrade when it comes to casting though. It was oh God, what's her name? Redhead. Let's look it up here. Remember, you had Jodie Foster in Silence of the Lambs, but in Hannibal you had, I forget her name. Anyway, that was sort of a downgrade when it comes to casting choices. What do you guys say? Tyler Perry and Alex Cross. Yeah, that wasn't very good. Dustin Rich says, forgive me if this is a touchy subject, but did your dad pass away when you were young? Yeah, he passed away when I was 12 years old. Thanks for reminding me of it. You want to talk about my dead grandparents too, man? No, I'm just kidding. He did, yes. That's why I use comedy to fill the emotional voids left behind. Blu-ray Addict says, John, did you ever see the new Stuckman controversy? His Wicked review got age restricted because of a gambling ad. I did see this. And the crazy thing about Stuckman is somehow, some way, he always surrounds himself with controversy. As a guy who tries to be non-controversial, he's so good at making controversy. I've always noticed that about him. And I don't know how he does it. But oddly enough, it somehow keeps him topical. So you almost have to think it's intentional at this point. But then again, when you make a gambling ad attached to your Wicked review, now first and foremost, I'm not going to talk shit about promoting something for the right price. Because if some company is going to pay me enough money to slap it in my video for 1 minute, and it's a 1 minute video ad that you can skip, and I'm getting a few dollars out of it to justify my existence on YouTube, I'll probably do it, you know? But with all that said, I think anything with gambling related material in it is going to be age restricted on YouTube. Now, the fact that I didn't watch the video. I read that 20% of it was an ad, and then the other 4 minutes was a review of the movie. I've noticed that being a new trend. And it's like, listen, I get that you want to be a cheerleader for films, and that's great, man. But like, when you're crapping out 5-minute movie reviews, what are you saying of substance besides, I liked it? Here's the cast. Here is the premise. Like, if you make a 10-minute review and 1 minute of it's an ad, that's cool. That's a justified review. And there's nothing wrong with getting a payday. But yeah, I whatever, you know, I won't talk crap about it because I would probably do the same ad if it was presented to me. I probably would. But I would also, like, I don't know, give you a longer review of the movie. So I don't know. It's just made up controversy, you know. Ultimately, at the end of the day, who really gives a shit? I don't think I do. Just to truthfully give you the honest truth, I don't think I genuinely care. So those are my thoughts on it. I hope those were thought-provoking and mildly fulfilling. My mom says real women fart only when they sleep. Okay, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Robert Giacinta once again. Well, Robert, I'm glad you're still watching, man. Here it goes. Have you ever seen the movie Birth, where a 10-year-old boy shows up on Nicole Kidman's doorstep claiming he's her dead husband, and eventually she agrees to run away with him just for it to be a prank? What? What is this movie? This is something definitely from Hollywood. There's definitely symbolism going on with that small child. Just putting it out there. Okay, here's the plot. It took Anna, played by Nicole Kidman, who now we call Botox Face in AMC commercials. Nothing makes me want to go to the movie theater more than a lady with too much Botox in her face that looks like Skeletor. Anyway, let's keep going here. 10 years to recover from the death of her husband, Sean, but now she's on the verge of marrying her boyfriend, Joseph, and finally moving on. However, on the night of her engagement party, a young boy named Sean turns up saying he is her... Oh my God, that is creepy. I've never seen this movie. It's got a 41% on Rotten Tomatoes, a 6.3 on IMDb, and a 3.7 out of 5 on Letterboxd. Okay, have you guys watched Birth? I don't think I've ever heard of this movie. I don't think I want to watch it. It sounds like the comedy of the year. Kids should gamble. Kids already gamble. They buy shit on Xbox Live. It's pay to play, baby. Everything's a gamble these days. You leave your house, it's a gamble. When I was 10 years old, I was buying scratch-off tickets. But anyway, yeah, it's kind of odd, right? People like to hate on Chris. It's kind of sick. You know what it is? I think he I feel like he does it to himself. I really do. Anyway, let's go to the next question. Dustin Rich says, who are your 3 favorite X-Men characters? 3 favorite X-Men characters. I always liked Wolverine quite a bit. I thought Magneto had the best backstory of any of them X-Men characters. Mystique is always fun to look at, when she's blue. I like Mystique blue. That's my favorite interpretation of Mystique. I always liked the Juggernaut a little bit. Not the most interesting character, but I always like big muscle bound characters. I always thought they were interesting. Let's see. Jubilee is my least favorite X-Men character. I've always hated Jubilee. And I'm glad she didn't get much screen time in the movies. And then, so yeah, I definitely think Wolverine, Magneto are 2 of my favorites. Yeah, we'll go with those. Dustin Rich says, she takes a bath with a little boy. Don't ask how I know that. Oh, I wish I was that little boy with Nicole Kidman. What? But anyway, Robert G. Chenta, thank you for the question. Thank you for letting me know this creepy yet disturbing Nicole Kidman movie exists. So thank you for that. And you get a party popper. So thanks, man. I'll probably never watch it. Andy Kumar says, what's a conspiracy theory you 100% believe? I just really feel like and I don't want to sound crazy. I don't, but something about the moon landing, there's just something a little off about that. Let's all be honest, okay? If you just step back and look at it, there's something off about it. That's all I'm saying. It feels a little off. There's something more we don't know about that, okay? Just technology-wise, I don't think we actually had the ability to go to the moon in 1969. Just putting that out. Also, the JFK assassination. Clearly more to that story than we know. The man was shot from 6 different angles, but one shooter, somehow. There's that. So, I think conspiracy theories all stem from somewhere, and I don't know the exact truth, but I really feel like the version that we get is construed and manipulated, and since when has the government ever told us the truth? If you think they're telling you the truth at some point, somewhere in history, I assure you they are not. Anyway, Big Don Da Vinci says, hope you had a good Thanksgiving, John. Yeah, I had a great Thanksgiving. I went to my wife's family's house, and we played Cards Against Humanity, ate some food, went to my mom's house, saw my little brother. We watched Stranger Things. I think it was as good as it possibly could have been, and a lot of good food, lots of, I feel bloated a little bit still, and I feel like some of those double eggs are lingering about in my bowels, but nevertheless, it was a good time. Okay, let's go to the next one here. Big Don Da Vinci says, I mean that the Big Bang Theory episode disproves the whole conspiracy. That's a real thing scientists do. The Big Bang Theory episode disproves the conspiracy? I don't know. If you're getting your information from the Big Bang Theory that uses audio laugh tracks, maybe look somewhere else. I don't know. Oh, okay, this is a great question. Did you have Mississippi mud pie yesterday? So I brought that up to my mother. I looked around the dessert table and I looked at my mom with a deadpan stare in my eyes with hate in my heart. And I said, Mother, I don't see any Mississippi mud pie here. And she looked back at me and she went to the cabinet and she bought all the ingredients to make it, but she just didn't have time to make it. Now, I will forgive her just this once, but I told her just this once. Because Mississippi mud pie... Oh, if I could swim in a pool of Mississippi mud pie, I would. Oh. Now, if you don't know what Mississippi mud pie is, it's a nice creamy pudding mix that has crumbs of Oreos in it, and it is delightful. It's the nectar of the gods. Sometimes I take a little and I just smear it on my face. Why? Don't ask me why. Don't judge me, but it's delicious. So anyway, yeah, I didn't have any Mississippi mud pie. The biggest regret of this Thanksgiving. Skylar Wheelock back again says, be honest, John. Have you ever gone full Arnold trying to get a solid... Oh, I'm sorry. Have you ever went full Arnold trying to get a sold out gift for someone in the past? I'm not a pervert. I just wanted a Turbo Man doll. I have not. But I think if I was at some point one day, if I am a father, I definitely will go above and beyond to get that special toy for that Christmas season. Not only to appease my child, but to make up for my shortcomings as as a father. Now, will I have to go to battle with a mailman who blows up people and commits acts of terrorism? Will I have to steal things from a toddler in a mall and get called a pervert? Yes, but this is all just a small price to pay for glory on Christmas Day. Now, will I go into my neighbor's house and steal that precious Turbo Man from under the Christmas tree? Yes, I will. Oh, yes, I will. What was the question? Oh, yeah. The truth be told, kids don't give a shit about toys anymore. Just get them a gift card to Xbox Live or Fortnite. Buy them a new iPad or whatever. I don't know. Kids don't care about tactical toys anymore. Isn't that sad? John, you're good people, man. Well, thank you for that. I try to be genuine. I try to be honest. It's not for everybody, but for the few that appreciate it, it's for you. So thank you for that. I don't tell you what you want to hear. I tell you what you need to hear, okay? And what is that? What shitty, lame jokes and witty one-liners, because that's all I got. Let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Joker Face, who says, John, have to watch Spartacus. It's Gladiator meets 300. I had a buddy who watched Spartacus and he tried to sell me on it for multiple years. He's like, man, I think you'll like it. And then I watched a few clips of it. And it just felt like everyone was fighting in front of a green screen. And it just didn't quite look like it had the budget that I wanted it to have. And keep in mind, at the time I was watching series like Game of Thrones and it's hard to top shit like that, So I couldn't quite get into it. I've heard it's cool. I've heard it's good. Maybe one day when I run out of shit to watch, I'll get to Spartacus. Caleb, how's it going? What's your favorite sex toy? Have a great night. Well, my favorite sex toy is this right here. It's a party popper, baby. I don't know. Probably my right hand. All right, let's go to the next one here. But thank you for the question, Caleb. Very generous of you, man. I always appreciate you so much. You don't know how much I appreciate you, Caleb. Nothing like a thought-provoking question like that. So thanks. Skylar Wheelock says, what are some movies your dad would have loved? You can't say Top Gun Maverick. That's a given. My dad would have loved that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Hell or High Water. Yeah, I think those are both good dad movies. Another one, very obvious choice. I know it's on the nose, but I would probably say something like F1. He probably would enjoy, which is the quintessential dad movie. I'm trying to think of some other shit. Maybe Gladiator. I think he would have appreciated. I'm trying to think of some other Arnold movies. But anything like Arnold or Stallone, I think you would enjoy. Stuff like that. But yeah. All right, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Robert Giacinto, once again, who says, John, I need some advice. My wife has been stuck in my eyes and she keeps quoting the movie Signs. What do I do? I guess just throw some water on her or something. I don't know. I guess just sit around wearing a tinfoil hat and hope for the best, man. But anyway, Signs is a good movie. I like Signs. All right. And by the way, thanks for the question, man. I wish I had a tinfoil hat right now. Spartacus Season 1 should be viewed by all. Okay, all right, you're selling me. John, I don't take gummies. Gummies take me. Isn't that the truth? When is John going to run for president? That's a great question. If I had the backing of Elon Musk and billions of dollars, I still probably wouldn't win. But I feel like I could win like mayor of a small shitty town somewhere in the Midwest. Could I not? Dustin Rich says, Buzz Aldrin once punched someone in the face for doubting the moon landing, John. Just saying. Well, every time you see an astronaut who went to the moon asked about the moon landing, don't they just give the most vague answers and they don't look really that happy that they went there? You think they'd be ecstatic. If I was an astronaut who went to the moon, I would be like, yeah, so on the mission, we did this and it was amazing and we went out there and we explored it. It was mind-blowing, blah, blah, blah. I'd give all this intimate detail, but it literally feels like they're depressed and they're reading from like the same 5 bullet points in every interview that they've given since 1969. Look at the first press conference of the astronauts after the moon landing. It literally looks like they're about to cry and someone's holding a gun to their head. And you ask them an intimate, detailed question about it, they do not give you an intimate, detailed answer. Check that out. Just putting it out there. Okay, let's keep going. And the next one comes from Buzz Aldrin. John, I in fact have not been to the moon. I am a liar. I'm kidding, it's not. It comes from Robert. I'm sorry, we already answered that from Robert Giacinta. But anyway, thanks again, man. Nevermind Gaming says, also, he was on an episode of WWE Raw. Who was? Buzz was caught lying his ass off. When? Beat that, you little trout sniffer. Buzz's girlfriend. Woof. Who do you think would win? Stallone from Rambo or Schwarzenegger from Commando? Well, Arnold in Commando had a rocket launcher, okay? So if you just want to put firepower against firepower, because Rambo, he's a great survivalist, and I will take nothing away from that. But he just didn't have the firepower. He was basically wearing a tarp out in the woods hoping for the best. So I'm going to go with Arnold. I'm going to go with Arnold. Now, if you now listen. You go to Rambo 2 where he's all jacked up in super soldier serum, that's a different story. John's favorite movie, Moonfall. Oh gosh. And that is not one of my favorite movies. I think that was a terrible movie. Go watch my review for that for some time. It could have been a cool movie. I did like the conspiracy theory behind it, but man, it was so boring. Sorry, John. Avatar 2 was awful. First one was fun, but Way of Water was terrible. It was okay to look at, but man, yeah, I tried to rewatch it last night and I just couldn't get past the first 30 minutes. It was just, like I said earlier, it just felt like a really bad video game cutscene. Oh, you said Stallone from Rambo 2. Well, in that case, I still think Arnold had more firepower. But Stallone had that cool exploding grenade arrowhead, which was pretty badass. You know what? I'm going to say this. If you put them both in the jungle with very limited resources, I think Stallone from Rambo 2 might pull it off. I do. I feel like he has more drive. Okay, the reason the astronauts are reluctant to talk about the moon landing is because they don't want to admit that they found Transformers on the moon. Well, yeah, obviously, the dark side of the moon has an old Decepticon hiding on it. I mean, are we stupid? Like, duh. Favorite movies from 2005, Batman Begins and The Island. I like both of them. Two great movies from 2005. I mean, obviously, Batman Begins would be my favorite movie of 2005, but let's see what else came out that year. Lots of shit. Okay. Oh, you had Hard Candy. You had The Island. You had, Hostel. I liked Hostel quite a bit. My friend and I, we like dark movies that are kind of weird, but you laugh at them. And we always do this joke when it comes to Hostel. You know when the scene where the guy's in the chair and you have the creepy guy come in and he's taking the scissors and he's going, ha, 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 Every time either of us have a pair of scissors, we make sure to do that. Let's see what else we had here. White Noise. Ooh, that was instantly forgettable. Two for the Money. Now, Two for the Money is an Al Pacino, Matthew McConaughey movie about gambling. And it's a great movie that's underrated. So if you've never seen the movie Two for the Money and you want to see a couple really great performances, especially from Al Pacino, go watch it. That is my recommendation of a movie that no one talks about. Two for the Money. Check it out. This is another great underrated movie from, I think this is, it's 2005. Harsh Times. Another super great underrated movie with Christian Bale. And the thing I like about the movie, Harsh Times, besides the line by Christian Bale where he's like, yo, dog, you're lucky you got little bitch feet or else I'd take your shoes. You know, that's a great line. Or I think he says, I'll take your kicks. Anyway, it's one of those like South Central LA movies, but Christian Bale in the movie plays like a degenerate, like criminal piece of shit, but he's also very dynamic. And he plays this other role where he's trying to become a police officer. And he's like, sir, yes, sir. But he's also like a piece of shit. And I like that, the duality of his character in the movie. So definitely recommend watching Harsh Times if you've never seen it. Oh, another great movie from 2005. Damn, 2005 had a lot of good movies. Like, look at this. Okay, so Lord of War, another great movie. Lord of War is one of my favorite movies of all time with Nicolas Cage. It might just be my favorite Nicolas Cage movie. And probably the last movie I enjoyed watching Jared Leto in. Fun with Dick and Jane. That was okay. Kind of a bad comedy movie. Cinderella Man, also another great movie. Yeah, 2005 was pretty loaded, wasn't it? Domino. That wasn't that good. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. I thought, that was 2005 as well. So, yeah, 2005 was loaded, man. Take me back to 2005. When's the last time, like, I just named like 7 great movies. When's the last time we had a year with like 7 great movies that you would want to rewatch in another 15 years? Tell me that. Yeah, it was pretty loaded. Wolf Creek was great. Yeah, I watched Wolf Creek like once or twice. It was an okay little horror movie. Actually, no. Wolf Creek sucked ass. Let me find it. Wolf Creek. Is that the Australian movie? I hated Wolf Creek. I'm sorry. I hated this movie. I don't know why. I just hated it. The dude in the outback who tracks people down and kills them. It reminds me of a... what's it called? Oh God, what is the movie? The animated movie where they go down under. Down Under animated movie. The Rescuers Down Under. Yeah, the dude from Wolf Creek just reminds me of the bad guy from Rescuers Down Under. What was his name? McLeach. Yes, McLeach from Down Under. You want me to gut you, don't ya? Reminds me of this guy. That's what Wolf Creek is. It's McLeach from Down Under. Oh, you had to skin you, boy. I'll feed you to my gaius. I don't even know if he says any of that, but that's my shitty Australian impression, and I'm just going to move on quickly. Dustin Rich says, I think The Weatherman with Nick Cage is underrated. When he slapped that one guy with a glove, it cracked me up. Oh, yes. The Weatherman. I like The Weatherman as well. 2019 was a good year for movies as well. I agree. 2019 at least had a couple good movies you'd want to revisit. And one of them was... sorry, I'm doing my Jeff Goldblum impression right now. Parasite, yes. Parasite, favorite movie of 2019. Give me another movie as good as Parasite. Please. Ladies Man says, I hated Wolf Creek as well, John. Yeah, I wanted to get up and leave that movie. I remember just hating it. Um, 2006, dude, every year had great movies except for the current years that we live in, okay? That's the problem. We don't have any movies that you want to watch next year or the year after that. Just what happened to rewatchability with films? Where's that at? I don't know where it's at. Endgame? Yeah, Endgame in 2019, another big comic book movie that had a payoff. And if for anything else, doesn't Stranger Things season 5 feel like Endgame just a little bit? It sort of has that Marvel vibe, and it feels big. And I mean that in a positive way, I do. I want to go back to 2006, man. Hey, 2006 is the year I graduated high school. You know, I don't know if I want to go back, but I'm glad I was there for it. 1999 to 2001 was peak from Murph and MM. Yeah, Murph. 1999 was arguably one of the best years for films ever made. I mean, you had Fight Club, you had The Matrix, you had 25 other great movies. You had, I think, Varsity Blues 99 or 2008. But 1999 movies, like, let's just look at a few of these. Okay, so 1999, you had Eyes Wide Shut. End of Days, not the best Arnold movie. Arguably, The World Is Not Enough, one of the worst James Bond movies. You had House on Haunted Hill, which I thought was an okay horror movie at the time. Haven't not seen it in a long time. We also had The Wild Wild West with Will Smith fighting a giant mechanical spider. So I'm really naming a lot of bad movies, but let's name a few good ones, shall we? Oh, okay. Bicentennial Man. Now, this is a movie that does not get enough love or appreciation, and it's a truly underrated Robin Williams movie that I think you should watch. And I think, if anything, they could make an updated version of Bicentennial Man, especially with like the advent of AI in the last couple of years. I think it would be interesting. It's like, what makes a human? Like, what technically qualifies you to be human? And I think that's an interesting argument and a topic for a new movie. But Bicentennial Man's a lot of fun. I like movies like that. So definitely check that out if you've never seen it. Let's see, we had Wishmaster 2 that came out in 1999. But you also had movies like The Sixth Sense. You had Sleepy Hollow. I just recently rewatched that for Halloween. So there's all kinds of good stuff in 1999. Blast from the Past. All right. Idle Hands is fun. Yeah, I liked Idle Hands. The Patriot was 2000. Yes, it was. So some good stuff in there. Oh, you also had Phantom Menace. Remember when we were all excited to see a new Star Wars movie? You remember that? And let's talk about the Phantom Menace just for one moment, shall we? I know I want to. So when it comes to Phantom Menace, that was the first Star Wars movie I ever saw in theaters. I saw it with my stepdad, and I remember the hype going into Phantom Menace because it had been a while since we've had a Star Wars movie, and everyone was clamoring. They couldn't wait to go back to Tatooine, baby, and I know I was one of them. I was super excited. And I remember the marketing materials revolving around Phantom Menace back in 1999. I remember we were collecting Pepsi cans that had all the different characters from Phantom Menace on them, thinking they would be collectible. But unfortunately, that shit was mass produced and isn't worth anything to this day. But we did that as a family. But the thing that I liked most about Phantom Menace that got me excited was the Phantom Menace teaser poster, which I still think is a piece of art. And if this doesn't get you excited for the movie, now keep in mind, before we watch the movie, this is what we got. Look at that teaser poster, man. Like, imagine going into a theater in like early 1999, multiple months before the movie came out, and you see this teaser poster, and you got little Anakin Skywalker there with the silhouette of Darth Vader, and it's just like, oh, yippee! You know, that's what I was thinking. Anakin, go clean the turbo boosters and you can go home. Yippee! You know? So, like, that's a great poster. And I won't shit on Phantom Menace too much. If anything, out of all the prequel movies, I like it the most. I know, but at least it was shot on film. Darth Maul was a badass antagonist. You had Duel of the Fates for the finale, and you had little Anakin from Jingle All the Way. Not the best casting choice, but overall, I still like it. And you had Jar Jar Binks, and I know that's an easy thing to shit on, and as you should shit on it, but I still had a good time watching it in theaters as a kid. So it has like that nostalgia for me. I don't know. The pod race scene. Yeah, that was a good scene. There's nothing wrong with it. But also, it's like, okay, you can go in a pod racer, which goes pretty fast, but it doesn't look like it's going that fast. But also, you have other pilots who can go like warp speed or light speed. So it's like, I don't know. Is it really that impressive? It's like I see jets flying around in the sky that go faster than pod racers. So it doesn't seem that impressive. But I liked the scene quite a bit. And I remember, speaking of pod racing, do you guys remember the pod racing game for N64? I rented that thing like 3 times because it made me feel like little Anakin Skywalker. Here it is right here. Here's what it looked like. And at the time, I thought to myself, man, graphics are never going to get better than that. You can almost, it renders into the distance just far enough. But that was a fun game. That was good stuff. Kind of miss it. Anyway, thank you for unlocking a core memory. Star Wars Racer. Yeah, that's what it was called. All right, let's keep going here. And the next one comes from... Joker Face, who says, John, were you laughing at Brock falling during his entrance? Yeah, Brock Lesnar during his entrance last week, he slipped and fell on his ass, did a back roll, and stood up and laughed. And yeah, I was laughing a little bit. I guess just wearing cowboy boots aren't the most applicable shoe if you want the most traction, I suppose. I don't know. Yeah, but that was pretty funny. It sort of took away a little bit from it. Murph MM says, I still have that on the N64. That's awesome. What's that going for nowadays on eBay, I wonder? Booster? Nobody wants Booster. Oh, the Pod Racer game at the arcade? Yeah, I remember playing that shit. Phantom Menace was awesome. I don't care what anyone says. Hey, fair enough, man. I think it's at least more memorable than the other 2 prequel movies, in my opinion. The Revenge of the Sith novelization is far superior, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm sure it probably adds more things of substance to the story. All right, guys, I'm going to answer a few more questions tonight because we have been talking for 2.5 hours. So if you guys have any other mystifying questions that you feel like I need to talk about or any topics, get those in now. We will cover them. And by the way, once again, did you guys pick up anything for Black Friday? Like I said earlier, I went to Walmart. I was hoping to find something and just nothing. 1994 was one of the best years. You had Lion King, you had Forrest Gump, you had The Shawshank Redemption, you had Pulp Fiction. Oh yeah, 1994, like all 4 of those movies are quintessential to my life. And Forrest Gump, Shawshank Redemption, Pulp Fiction, Lion King. Yep. Probably the Lion King I really enjoy. But all those other 3 movies are like in my top 20 movies of all time. So 94 was a solid year. Like, imagine if you could just replicate what you got in 1994 now. Imagine just having 4 big movies that you really loved. Not just liked, but you loved. John, no bullshit. How's your job, big dog? Well, my job currently, my day job, is being a home inspector. I do enjoy it quite a bit. Basically, if you purchase a home or you have a new build, I'm the guy that you hire to go inspect your home. And I treat these home inspections much like I treat my movie reviews. I'm very negative. I nitpick everything, but I do it for you. So you know what you're getting and you're well informed. They're going good, man. I like it. I like the challenge. There's a physical aspect to it where you crawl around on roofs. You're in crawl spaces. You're in basements. The other day I found a whole bunch of dead mice in a basement. It's really intriguing, and you basically document the condition of the home. You give the buyers some backstory and maybe why it is like it is, and it feels like you're Sherlock Holmes. You're uncovering the mystery. And other days I get to fly around with a drone and look and examine the exterior of. I like it. I don't know why. It's just like a practical job I like. But my favorite thing about doing home inspections is when no one is there. I'm there all by myself for like 4 hours, and I find it almost therapeutic in a way. And if for anything else, like I have been lazy for like the last 3 months and I have not went to the gym, but moving around and crawling on ladders and looking high and low, it's kind of like my workout every day. So I like it. Now, sometimes you come across a house that it should just be condemned or demolished. and it's like you try to say everything except for, don't buy this heaping pile of shit, sir. Don't do it. But you can't do that. You have to be objective. Once again, it's kind of like reviewing a movie. You got to be somewhat objective, but also have a somewhat subjective opinion when it matters. You know, so it's always interesting. Did anyone ever say, holy shit, you're that movie guy? Not yet. And I'm hoping never. Favorite fan encounters you've had meeting people. I remember one time I was at the urinal in the movie theater and some young kid came up to me and he just like stared at me as I was taking a piss. I was like, hey man, how's it going? I was like, how about we talk after we both wash our hands? How's that? But no, it's for the most part, every fan I've met, it's always fun and exciting. And sometimes you meet someone who's nervous to meet you. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, why are you nervous to meet me? I'm some douchebag on the internet that made videos in his mother's basement. I'm not Tom Cruise. But it's always really nice to meet people. And it's so surreal when you meet people who have been watching you for 10 years and they know everything about you. They know everything about you. And you don't know anything about them. It's like a weird, surreal experience. And every time I meet somebody that's watched me on YouTube, I always make it a point to like ask them about them. To be honest with you, because I'm like, I don't care about me. Like, let's talk about you, because I don't know you. You know me. So, yeah, it's always cool. John. John, have you ever done a home inspection when the owner was gone and took a big dump while you were there? I have not. You know, when it comes to me, I'm a little dump shy. I usually like to be in my own proximity, my own environment, and I'm very temperamental these days, or at least my bowels are. And would you like me to further elaborate on how temperamental my bowels have become in my old age? Well, 3, 2, 1, here we go. I usually need to set aside a solid 45 minutes of me time. And not only that, I have to go into my bathroom where I have a heater. I'm telling you, my best advice I can ever give you is put a heater beside your toilet. A little space heater. Warm it up. It relaxes you. It loosens you up. It's comforting. It's like sitting beside a warm fireplace on a cold winter night at your grandparents' house. Nothing will make you feel more safe and secure than exactly what I'm describing right now. Are you still with me? Okay, I'm going to continue on. Then what I do is I try to find a nice, juicy, article to read on Reddit or maybe a TikTok video. But sometimes TikTok videos are slightly too unsettling, so I don't like it. It ruins the flow and ruins the pace of what I'm trying to do. And what am I trying to do? I'm trying to relax. So anyway, I hope that answered your question. You've been posting for a long time. I have indeed. It's 15 years. It's been 15 years on YouTube. This month marks 15 years. Isn't that crazy? I know. You would have been dead in the long walk. Why? Oh, yeah, because I would have. Yeah, you're right. Oh, sorry. I just got it. Yes, you're right. There's no way. In the long walk, the one scene that stuck with me was like, so those kids have to take a crap on the go, right? So they're squatting down for like 3 seconds and then running and not wiping their ass. The thought of doing that sounds like a living hell to me. Now, first and foremost, if I was going to participate in the long walk, here's what I would have done. First and foremost, I would have had a backpack full of adult-sized diapers and a lot of wet wipes. I would have been good to go. John is still a 17-year-old at heart. You have to be. What do you want to do? Grow up and be boring and dull? No. You got to hold on to that childhood-like spirit and sensibility. And you know why? Because you're going to die inside. And you're going to be like every other mindless troglodyte inching down the freeway in their metal coffins to go to their cubicle job. And then one day, in about 40 years, you're going to be on your deathbed and you're going to look around and you're going to think, why did I let all that go just to appease other people that don't matter? Remember that. What was the question again? Sorry. Okay. The next one comes from HK YouTube 24, who says, do you think Vecna will be Will's dad? Top 5 corn stars. That would be hilarious if Vecna was Will's dad. I don't know if they're going to go that route, but my theory is, and I'm not spoiling anything. They didn't reference this in the first 4 episodes by any means of season 5. I think Vecna, at some point, just putting it out there, I think Vecna will find it in his cold, bleak heart to slightly turn good to help go against a bigger threat. I think there's a bigger threat looming somewhere. Just putting it out there. I could be completely wrong. That's just my opinion. Thanks for the question, though, man. Murph MM, how's it going once again? How do you manage to crawl through attics and crawl spaces as a germaphobe? I enjoy going through crawl spaces, but always need to shower for 30 minutes after. You know, that's a great question. And I actually had a real estate agent ask me that same question like 2 weeks ago. And the thing is, when it comes to like actual organic germs, like dirt, that doesn't bother me. Now, people's germs bother me. All right. Yeah. But when I go through a crawl space, and I've only had to do it a couple of times, I wear a Tyvek suit. So I look like Walter White from Breaking Bad when he's cooking meth in his RV. I even have a respirator on. And I have a young guy waiting outside the crawl space named Jesse. Hurry up, bitch. And I'm like, Jesse, you must be very precise. I'm looking for mold and efflorescence. But anyway, I don't know. Sometimes I like it. I like getting dirty, and then I come home and shower every time I get home. So I don't know. I like it. I like going out there and getting a little bit dirty and sweaty, you know? Makes me feel like a man. So I don't mind it in certain situations. And plus, if there's a crawl space, I don't go into one unless I absolutely have to. But there's not a lot of crawl spaces that I go into. So, you liked the first 4 episodes. I thought they were a chore to get through. What happened to season one's vibe? Yeah, I will say the first 4 episodes, it felt like they were throwing so much stuff at you that the simplicity was like kind of gone. And every time we got one of those scenes that would slow down with the characters just like interacting with each other, I liked those subtle sequences where the characters are just being themselves and having like a conversation. But every time it gets like erratic and bombastic where they're like flying through the upside down in a car, it's just like, I like things like that, but like, I don't need that much of it. So yeah, it's just the first 4 episodes threw a lot at you. To the point where I was like, what? Where am I? What's happening? I don't even know if I'm in the upside down right now. I love the season 2 1980s Halloween vibes. Yeah, you and I both. So my wife and I, when we went back and rewatched all 4 previous seasons leading up to season 5 in preparation for the last couple of months, So when it comes to season 2, it kind of like feels like season 1 again, because they kind of retread the same shit because Will's possessed and they have to heat him up to get the whatever, the evilness out of him. But what we do with season 2 is I watch the first 3 episodes, and I think episode 3 is where the kids go trick-or-treating, dress up like the Ghostbusters. And that's a great episode. There's great Halloween vibes and themes, and I loved all of that. And then right after episode 3, when the Halloween aspect is done, we just stop. Okay, that's enough of season 2. Let's go to season 3. And that's what we do. Stranger Things has too many characters. Season 1 still rules. Yeah, like they're adding a lot more characters to this season just to add more characters, and it's not that necessary. Like the little kid Derek. Yeah. Are you looking forward to the animated series? I'll give it I'll check it out maybe once. Did you like one battle after another? I thought it was okay. There was definitely aspects I liked about it. Like Leonardo DiCaprio's character and his storyline I thought was a lot of fun. I like that he became like this paranoid, like hippie at some point. He's really paranoid at everyone who comes to the house, and I like that aspect of it, like that comedy vibe. And I thought the overall plot was interesting, but some of it just didn't land with me. Some of the humor by Sean Penn, I liked him as a villain, but the movie itself, I don't really have much of an urge to revisit it. And I was hoping I would like it more than I did. If you want my full-fledged thoughts on the movie, I did a review, I don't know, 3 or 4 live streams ago where I talk about it for 20 minutes. So there's my in-depth thoughts if you want to check out that live stream. But it was okay. It's not going to be like one of my favorite movies of the year. Definitely not one of my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movies by any means. I still think that goes to like Boogie Nights or There Will Be Blood. And both of those I find instantly rewatchable. So, and they're both, and There Will Be Blood is the definition of a slow burn. But I just think it's more compelling to me. I drink your milkshake. I drink it up. Bash it in a basket. All right, let's go to the next one. Erica and Robin always sucked. I don't mind Erica or Robin. I think there was one scene, I talked about this earlier. Erica, in one scene, basically stabbed someone in the neck with a syringe, and she's like, you should have ate your damn pie. I like that. It's funny. Best Leonardo DiCaprio from the last 10 years? Best movie from the last 10 years? Wolf of Wall Street came out 2012, so it's more than 10 years ago, but I'm going to go with that. I'd go with that. What else? Leo. Oh, I know my favorite. I'm so stupid. Playing Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That's probably my favorite Leonardo DiCaprio performance in the last 10 years as Rick Dalton. Cliff Booth and Rick Dalton hanging out in that movie makes that movie so rewatchable to me. I love it. Get that mechanical asshole out of here. I relate to the character of Rick Dalton quite a bit. I really do. He's really like insecure about his career, and he feels like he's a has-been. And that scene where Rick Dalton goes into his trailer and just crashes really hard and freaks out and basically like shits on himself. I relate to that more than you will ever know. Yeah, you get these lines right, or you're going to go home and blow your fucking brains out. You hear me? And I relate to it because why? Okay, let's just move on. The Revenant. I like The Revenant. I like when he cuts open a horse and crawls in it. I do like that. Are you excited for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood Part 2? Oh boy, am I. The spinoff directed by David Fincher. You bet your sweet ass I am. I can't wait to check that out. I'm really looking forward to that. What's the release date on that? What is the release date on this? Expected to release 2026. Yeah, I'm super excited for the spinoff with Cliff Booth. Once Upon a Time is Tarantino's best. I'll die on that hill. Hey, in all fairness, I'd put it in my top 3 of Tarantino, maybe top 4. For me, when it comes to Tarantino, you got to go with Pulp Fiction, Django Unchained, The Hateful Eight, which a lot of people don't love. And I just, they're like, oh, it's too slow. And I'm like, you fucking missed the point, you silly bag of shit. I love The Hateful Eight. And then you have Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I think are my 4 favorite Tarantino films. I really do. Dustin Rich says, I have party pop phobia. Well, it's okay. You can overcome every fear. Just put it behind you and move on. Worst Quentin Tarantino movie? For me, it's always been Jackie Brown. That was always like my least favorite. Well, technically speaking, it's probably Death Proof. I'm not a big fan of that movie. The Long Walk and Weapons were decent. Yeah, The Long Walk and Weapons are definitely my top 10 of the year. At what place, I don't know. But I like both movies. The Long Walk was really good. Quite enjoyed it. And Weapons was probably like my most enjoyable horror film of the year. And by the way, speaking of horror movies, which it's not a movie, it's a TV series. I watched episode 1 of Welcome to Derry, and I just don't care about watching anymore. Do you guys like it? Has it gotten better? Is it entertaining? Is it worth watching? I just don't feel like, I feel like it's one of those shows where I could just watch the first episode and like the last episode, and like it would be like the same difference because everything else in the middle just feels like filler. Let me know. Have you seen the movie Honey Don't? No, I have not. All right. Claudia Rowajon, how's it going, man? Where have you been? I've been waiting 2.5 hours for you to get here. You're finally here. Sorry I'm late to the party, but I just wanted to say hello. And what's the best mob movie in your opinion? I've been to the mob movie mood lately. Best mob movie? Well, first and foremost, Claudio, if you haven't watched Sopranos, go start watching that right now. Just watch the first season. If you don't like it, don't continue. But I think you will. I talked about it earlier, Casino is a great mob movie if you've never seen it. Go check that out. You can watch a slow burn like Once Upon a Time in America. It's okay. I like it, but I never loved it. But watch Casino. For me, that's one of my favorite mob movies. No, Derry is dog shit. Welcome to Derry is actually pretty decent. Welcome to Derry is okay, but a little underwhelming. The CGI is awful. The horror elements in Welcome to Derry are actually better than the movies. Oh, that's interesting. Welcome to Derry is so good, John. You need to watch it. The Godfather 1 and 2 debate are over. I like 2 more, so there's that. Sopranos is the greatest show ever. Sopranos is damn good. A Bronx Tale. I don't remember anything about the Bronx Tale. I feel like I watched it when I was like maybe a teenager, but I don't recall a lot about it. And yeah, Casino was awesome. Nothing happens till episode 5. Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard you don't see Pennywise until episode 5. And it's just like, it just feels like a lot of filler to get there. You know what I'll probably do? I'll just wait till they all come out and then binge them at some point. All right. Well, hey, it's a party now. Night King 01's here. John, did this new season of Stranger Things feel comedic to you? It seems that they are leaning into comedy. Also, it seems like there was a disconnect between the last season and this. There's always a time jump. Well, no, the thing is with Stranger Things, there's always a lot of comedy interjected. Like everything's kind of like, they break up a lot of stuff with a little bit of levity. And I like that vibe. I think it's funny. Like there was like one little stupid subtle scene, but they basically mount a huge antenna to a car. And Dustin's like, well, we're not going to be inconspicuous now. And the camera pans up and you see this like 5-foot antenna on top of this car. And it's just like, I like little comedic bits like that. So I think it's a nice blend of comedy. I just think they're like throwing so much at you with all the new characters and the subplots, and like their plans have become so outrageous where I'm like, okay, this is the most convoluted thing you could possibly do. And it just feels like they're going out of their way to have the characters do these complex, over the top plans, but some of them don't feel completely necessary. And it feels like maybe that's not the best idea you could come up with. Like, not everyone needs to be doing everything. So I don't dislike it by any means. I'm just saying, like, watching the first 4 episodes, for me to break down everything that everyone does, I would need like a chart to remember it all. And I can't. I can't recall everything they did because it's so chaotic. Caleb says, John, I'm high as F right now. Deluminati Doritos chip. What is that? Well, I'm glad you're enjoying yourself, man. And it's Friday night. The feeling's right. It's your right and your freedom to do as you please. And I do hope you have some delicious snacks as you're watching right now. Something salty, preferably. I know that's my motto. Dustin Rich says, would you rather own a full-size drivable replica of the 89 Batmobile or the Ecto-1? Listen, man, the Ecto-1 was just an old-ass ambulance that looks like a hearse with some shit on it, okay? No. You think I'm going to drive that shit over the Batmobile? No. Give me the Batmobile. I'll sell my house. I'll sell every possession I have. I will sell my soul to the devil himself if I can have an exact replica of the 89 Batmobile. And if you give me the Michael Keaton Batman suit with the Nike shoes included, yes, please. I will just live in it and I will die in it. John, when can I expect a glorious Home Alone sweater? Well, in the month of December, that is the time that I whip out the Macaulay Culkin Home Alone sweater, okay? So just hang on tight. We'll get there. We're almost there. Give it another couple weeks. Honestly, Welcome to Derry has some good moments. It's gory, too. Yeah, but do you like the characters? That's my question. So far, my Stranger Things rankings are 4, 3, 1, and 2. No, so for me, I think it's 4, 1, 3, 2. And don't get me wrong, I think technically, objectively speaking, I think 1 is like super solid, but I've just seen it so many times. But I think like rewatchability 4 is like the most fun for me. I think The Town is my favorite Ben Affleck movie. Hey Dougie, I'm leaving this whole town on my review. Yeah, I agree. I love The Town. I think it's one of the best heist movies in the last 20 years. The Battinson Batmobile was sick. Yeah, it was cool. It was like a muscle car. You know, for me, the coolest Batmobile was the Tumbler. That just was a cool, badass Batmobile. And it looked so tactical. Like, it looked like an actual vehicle Batman would drive. And by the way, I've shared this before. I'll share it again. But I remember, like, a year before The Dark Knight came out, I had this theory, and I remember sharing it on every internet forum I could come across, and everyone's like, you're stupid, man. But I had a theory. I was like, listen, the Batpod comes from the Tumbler. It does. The wheels are the same size. I'm telling you, it comes from the Batpod, or it comes from the Tumbler. And I remember so many people on like forums would give me shit about that, especially the Yahoo Movie Talk forums. And come to find out, I was right. So I feel justified in that. Okay, Skylar Wheelock says, are you Team Steve or Team Jonathan? Jonathan could get his head ripped off by a Demogorgon on the next episode, and guess what? I'd be like, I don't care. Bye, Jonathan. You have no chemistry with Nancy. She'll never love you as much as Steve. Steve and Nancy belong together. Steve for life, baby. And plus Jonathan, he's so useless. Isn't he just useless? It's like, here's creepy Jonathan coming about. Ugh. I can't look at him when I eat. So yeah, I'm Team Steve all day, man. The town was good, but the ending felt too Hollywood with Ben getting away. Well, let me give you this. Go watch the alternate ending to the town. You don't want the Hollywood version, baby? Go watch the alternate ending. Very different. Go watch that version. Which I also think they should have left in the movie. Just putting it out there. What about Ecto-1 or the DeLorean? The DeLorean. I'm sorry. Dude, look. Ugh. I'm wearing a... Ah! So, not only did the movie Gladiator 2 suck balls, but the popcorn bucket almost just killed me. No, but look. You think I'm going to pick the Ecto-1 over this? Look at this, man. This is something like you could just drive every day. Could you imagine doing flick trips in the DeLorean? This is just a popcorn bucket, by the way, but I love it. So, yeah, I'd probably rather have the DeLorean over the... I think the Ecto-1's cool. I just never thought it was that cool. Okay, let's go to the next one here. Caleb says, John, I'm hearing voices. I hear voices all the time, man. Put yourself in a safe place and swallow yourself in a nice blanket. That's what I typically do. I've been inside one. I've been inside a DeLorean too. You want to see a picture? Let me see if I can find it. Okay, I can't find a picture of it, but I have been in a DeLorean. I did put it in a Flick Trip video back in 2019, where I went to, what was it? MegaCon in Cleveland or something like that. It was a Flick Trip video, but yeah, it was pretty cool. Thoughts on the Shining cameo in Zootopia 2? I have not watched Zootopia 2 yet, and I have a very unpopular opinion to share with all of you right now, and I think now is the time I should share this. Listen, I think the first Zootopia is a fine little animated movie. I think it's entertaining, but it's never been like my favorite. I've never... Something about it just never stuck with me as a classic, and I know a lot of people like it. I do. To me, it was like I watched it once. I was like, yeah, that's okay. It doesn't have that same quality that I'm looking for. It doesn't have this timelessness like a Pixar movie or something. Like, I think it's fine. You know, like listening to Jason Bateman play this nonchalant fox, I guess, is entertaining. But now, with all that said, I will check out Zootopia 2 in theaters maybe this weekend or something. My wife and I need a reason to go to the movie theater, so why not? But I haven't watched it yet. The Running Man 2025 was terrible. I talked all about that in the last live stream or the one before that for 20 minutes, and yeah, instantly forgettable. Came out a week ago, and guess what? No one's talking about it, and they never will again. I skipped school to go see one. You skip school to go see what? Worst movie I've ever seen was Halloween Ends. No shit. Yeah, pretty bad. Gladiator 2 might be the worst movie I've ever seen. Gladiator 2 is one of the most disappointing sequels ever made, if not the worst, most disappointing sequel ever made. You could just tell Ridley Scott did not give a shit. He's like, okay, just take out your junky little digital camera. Let's film one scene. It looks like it was shot for a YouTube short. Go. Oh, rap. That's good. The screenplay was atrocious. The casting was completely, it made no sense. I like me some Denzel, but what the hell was he doing in the movie? It was really bad. It was really bad. It felt like an episode of a Netflix TV show that was a spinoff of Gladiator. And that's the biggest praise I can give it. All right, the next one comes from JRM 2017, who says, what do you think of Monster Ed Gein story? I wasn't a fan of it. Hey, mother's coming. What's that? That's a nipple. So here's the thing about the Ed Gein story. I think this newest season is probably my least favorite season of Monster from Netflix. And now keep in mind, I only watched the first 4 episodes of it. I have not finished it. And that really says something. I just don't care. I just can't look at it anymore. It's just like not enjoyable to watch. I thought the first season of Monster was a lot of fun with Evan Peters. I thought that was good. I thought season 2 with the is it Menendez? The Menendez brothers? I thought that actually had like a vibe and tone to it that was interesting to watch. But the new one with Ed Gein, and Ed Gein's a really like prolific serial killer who would cut people's faces off and make lampshades out of their nipples. But I just don't feel like there was enough meat on the bone, figuratively and literally, to make it that compelling. So now the new one I think is, what's the new season going to be about? It's isn't it about the one lady? They made a movie called Monster actually with Christina Ricci in it with oh god, what's her name? She plays Furiosa. You know who I'm talking about. Anyway, that was a good movie. I really enjoyed that. Just $5 more. Anyway, if you've never seen it, go check that out. It's a really good movie. But I think that's the next season of Monster. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I was really hoping John Wayne Gacy was going to get the next season. So I guess I just like creepy clowns who bury people in their crawl space. Is it Lizzie Borden? Okay. Oh, it is. Okay. Lizzie Borden, an American woman acquitted in 1893 for the brutal 1892 axe murders of her father and stepmother in Fall River, Massachusetts. The case remains unsolved, and Lizzie's life continues to intrigue people. That could be cool. Does that need to be 8 episodes, though? I don't know. That sounds like it could be kind of interesting if, like, they made the next... You know what they need to do with the next season of Monster? They need to have it about 2 prolific serial killers. And then what you can do is you can split it up and go back and forth between the 2 different stories throughout each episode, right? So, like, you could have Lizzie Borden, and then you could have, like, John Wayne Gacy. And they could share the spotlight with each episode where it cuts back and forth. I think that would be interesting because some of these stories don't need to be 8 hours. And I think you could like fit 2 stories into one season. Just putting it out there. Charlize Theron. Sorry, yes. When I start forgetting names like that, that's when I know I've been talking too long. And it's been 3 hours. So I am going to take just a few more questions. Please get those in right now. And I'm going to wrap up the live show for tonight. But don't worry. I will answer every question I get for the next few minutes. So don't go anywhere. But anyway, JRM, thank you for the question. And as per usual, you get a party popper. All right. Taka. How's it going, Taka? Hey, Johnny Monster Dingaling Flickinger. Big love from Japan. Well, hey, thanks, man. What do you think of Tom Cruise as a person? Give us your real thoughts on the guy. Also, please do your James Franco impression. That's my James Franco impression. So, I actually talked about Tom Cruise earlier in intimate detail, but if you want my real thoughts on Tom Cruise, professionally speaking, is the last big remaining Hollywood star that we have. And he's great. He's iconic in every way. And when it comes to his acting credits, he deserves everything that he's gotten. He really does. He's played a multitude of characters. He's a great actor. He has a great screen presence. And he gives a shit about his craft. And I appreciate that. And the dude does his own stunts. He does. And that's also, I respect the shit out of that. He is driven to be a perfectionist. And that's what makes him so great at what he does. So you have to idolize stuff like that. But when it comes to Tom Cruise, the person... And this is just my interpretation of who he is as a person. I think he's good at being a nice guy. But I also think he's a sociopath deep down inside. And I think he's in love with himself, and he's self-centered and slightly narcissistic. And I think the reason that he loves being in film so much is he likes to be idolized. He likes people watching him. And he likes to feel important, like he's the savior of cinema. It gives him purpose. But I probably think he's an insufferable asshole too, or according to his ex-wives, that's sort of the vibe I get. So there's all of that. Also, I think he's a control freak. And if you dive a little deeper into his personal life, you might unravel some unsavory things as well. But overall, the guy's never really hurt anyone. So personally speaking, there's that. And show me the money. But I like me some Tom Cruise. I do. But you asked me my in-depth thoughts, and those are my in-depth thoughts. Okay, Dustin Rich says, what is your address when you lived near Akron? Well, Dustin, I'll just tell you. I lived off of a street called Fish Creek. That's where I lived at. I lived in Stowe, technically. Stowe is a suburb north of Akron. So I lived off a street called Fish Creek. I think the apartment complex that I lived in at the time was, I think it was called Hidden Lake, something like that. So I hope that's sufficient. Tom won't come out of the closet. Well, most celebs won't either. Tom and Leonardo DiCaprio. You have to understand this about some of your favorite actors and celebrities. Behind closed doors, they're pieces of shit. Much like everyone that works in the entertainment industry. If you really got to know the people that you watch on YouTube or watch in movies, I assure you, you probably wouldn't like them as much as you do if you knew the real them. I promise you that. I've met a lot of people from YouTube, and when you start talking to them in person, you're just like, this guy's a narcissistic asshole. He doesn't care about anyone but himself. And sometimes the most entertaining people that you see on YouTube when you meet them in real life are the most boring people. It's a weird phenomenon, but it's true. And myself included. I wouldn't say I'm a narcissistic asshole, but in reality, I'm kind of a boring guy. I can be entertaining and funny in short doses, but outside of that, I just want to lay on my couch in the fetal position, watching YouTube videos about people going to garage sales. That's the kind of shit I'm doing. Dustin Rich says, what's your address? What the fuck are you? I told you where I lived. Right now, where's my address? Are you outside of my window, Dustin? All right. All right, let's go to the next one here. The next one comes from JT Hiskey, who says, I recently met Paris Jackson through a mutual friend. I was wondering how you feel about the Nepo babies within the industry. Thanks for everything you do, and happy Thanksgiving. Well, thanks for the question, man. Well, a lot of actors really get a chance in Hollywood because of nepotism. It's just the truth. I mean, with every success story in life, most of them are because you knew the right person or you're related to the right person. And the other thing about making it in Hollywood, I've noticed this trend. Usually, most actors or singers who make it in Hollywood, it's because they come from a wealthy family where they can afford to try to make it in Hollywood for years on end because they have the financial backing to do so. Very rarely do you see someone who comes from nothing that makes it. And I respect stories like that. I do. So yeah, there's a lot of nepotism in every industry. It's not what you know, it's who you know. So yeah, there's a lot of it. Now, sometimes you do see someone who's related to a famous actor and they get a career in Hollywood because of that. And yeah, there's nepotism there, but if that person's really good at what they do and they're successful, then good for them, and also, I also appreciate sometimes when you have someone like that does try to have a career in Hollywood and make their own way rather than live off their dad's trust fund, for example. They could just sit there and get daddy's money like Like Arnold Schwarzenegger's kid, who was in White Lotus season 3. Like he could just get an allowance from his dad, sure, but he's at least trying to be an actor and do his own thing. And there's absolutely nepotism there, but you know, that's Hollywood. So thoughts on MTV channel in general, is it the worst ever? I've not watched MTV in 15 years. I stopped watching when like Rob Dyrdek's Fantasy Factory was on there. I miss the days of MTV when you would have Viva La Bam, you'd have Robin Big, Rob's Fantasy Factory. You'd have, what else was on there? I remember my girlfriend at the time would watch all the Teen Mom episodes, which was kind of like watching a car crash and it would slowly burn, and it was kind of entertaining at the same time. But man, that was like the last great hoorah of MTV. Is MTV still exist? Didn't they cancel it or something? I don't know. All right, let's keep going here. I liked MTV Cribs. Yeah, I liked MTV Cribs until you realize it's all fake. Like 90% of the houses they were showing weren't actually their houses. So that kind of took me out of it a little bit. My favorite MTV Cribs episode, though, was the Jackass episode where they literally went to Steve-O's apartment and he lived in some shitty apartment with a roommate. And then like he had like a skate ramp in there and like a bathtub full of mold. And like, I liked that because that's real. I appreciated that. Have you seen Wake Up Dead Man yet? I have not. God, I miss Viva La Bam so much. Dude, that was my go-to show back in the day. But anyway, JT Hiskey, thanks for the question. And you get a party popper. 3, 2, 1. So thank you for that, man. All right, Claudia Rowajan back again. What would you give to get a sequel to Dread 2012? I probably wouldn't give much, but I would like to see it. And the fact that we haven't gotten a sequel to Dread 2012. Now, I've heard that there is a sequel coming. Wasn't there a rumor going around, Dread sequel? Oh, shit, I guess not. A live-action sequel to Dread is unlikely to happen despite fan demand due to the original film's poor box office. So here's what I have to say to that. Hear me out for a second. And I know Netflix producers are watching, and maybe even Amazon Prime producers are watching my live streams, as they should, because I'm going to give you real unadulterated feedback, not from one of your mindless executive producers who have no creative talent, but when it comes to Dread with Carl Urban, the fact that none of these streaming services have looked at this and said, you know what, there's a cult following, it has name recognition, we could probably make like an 8-part episodic series out of this because there's an entire world that this cool character exists in, and there's a lot of adventures that he can go on and all kinds of cool shit that you can do. And it wouldn't have to be that expensive. I mean, if you're going to dump all the money on the Lord of the Rings series that costs like $1 billion, which is just the most bastardized, generic digital version of Lord of the Rings you could possibly make that no one likes or cares about, I'm pretty sure you could drop like $100 million on a Dread 8-part season 1 series. Or call me crazy, just give it like a $60 million budget and go make a low-key movie. And put it on your streaming service. Like all the money that they crap out to make these generic movies with The Rock and Gal Gadot and called Red Notice or Red State and all these terrible movies that no one watches more than once. And that's basically background noise when you're, I don't know, eating potato chips in your underwear, scrolling on your phone. Make a new Dread movie. Make a sequel. Get the rights to do it. Make it happen. Like, how has no one done this yet? It just would lend itself perfectly to being like a limited series or a series itself. I don't understand it. I don't. So anyway, I think I answered the question, but man, yeah, same. I'd rather get a new Dread anime cartoon, to be honest. Okay, see, I like live action, man. Just something about it's a little more visceral to me. Red Dawn 2012 Part 2, I hated the Red Dawn remake. I hated it. You know what I miss, speaking of MTV? I miss Nickelodeon. I miss Nickelodeon and TGI Fridays. When you had the Keenan and Kel show, you had all that. You had Roundhouse. You had Boy Meets World on. There was like a couple other shows that came on. I miss that. Oh, man, that was my Friday night as a kid. Okay, the next one also comes from Night King 01, who says, Gladiator 2 and The Running Man get worse the more I think about them, soulless and digital. Absolutely. Every bad decision you can make with either movie, they did that. Every time you think, okay, this is an interesting idea. This is kind of like a cool concept. I hope they explore that. No. Nope. They go a different direction. Yeah, I hated Gladiator 2, man. I hated it. But I like the popcorn bucket. I do like the popcorn bucket for Gladiator 2. Now, if they had only made this 1 inch bigger for my fat head, my melon, I could wear this. Let me see if I can put it on. Ooh, I did it. My name is Maximus Decimus Flickpick Meridius, father to a dead son, husband to a dead wife, and I will eat popcorn in this life or the next. Now, is this crushing my nose bone? Yes, it is. But for the sake of entertainment and wearing this mat, here, it's getting a little hot in the gladiator pit, baby. What do you say we just chill out with this? And for the next question, let's take that off. Okay. I'm never doing that again. For real, I miss peak Nickelodeon. Man, Nickelodeon back in like 1995 to like 1998. It's just 90. I'll give it to 1999. I'll give it that much. But man, or you come home from school, you had a hard day, you just lean back and Hey Arnold's on. Oh God. Or Doug, do. Or how does it go? Dun, dun. I can't do it. I'm tone deaf. Hey, funny. I like Doug. Roger Klotz. All right, let's go to the next one here. Hey Arnold, man. Yeah, Hey Arnold's room. I'm still jealous of that. He had a potato that powered a clock. He had a skylight, man. That room was my fantasy. I aspire to have a room like Hey Arnold's at some point in my life. Oh, Tales from the Crypt, also phenomenal. I think they could bring back Tales from the Crypt. I really do. I think if you put something like that on Netflix and you did an updated version, I think it would do very well. I was never a fan of Rocket Power. Was a little bit after my like adolescent years, so I wasn't really into Rocket Power all that much. My favorite series ever? I'm not quite sure. Like I can't just pick one. Like I could say Breaking Bad, I could say Game of Thrones, even though the last season sucked. Stranger Things I really enjoy. It's really hard for me to pick just one favorite series. Murph says, did you watch Are You Afraid of the Dark? I'm watching it on Paramount. Still a great show. It's on Paramount? I might go watch that. Oh, yeah. I loved Are You Afraid of the Dark? Stories from the Midnight Society or whatever they'd say. Dude, I miss shows where they always have a different opening where all the kids come together. They sit around the campfire. And dude, some of the episodes in Are You Afraid of the Dark were creepy as shit. Terrifying. Remember the one episode, or was it? No, that was Goosebumps. But there were some creepy episodes in Are You Afraid of the Dark? I always wish I knew kids that would do something like that, where we go out to a campfire and share stories on a weekly basis. That just sounds like a good time, doesn't it? I thought it was scary. Claudia Rogajan says, I always say that Nickelodeon ended in 2007 after Drake and Josh ended. I know it wasn't part of your time, but man, those two guys had the coolest room in the world. Look it up. All right, let's look up Drake and Josh's room, and then I'm going to get the hell out of here. Drake and Josh room. Let's look at this. Oh, yeah, they got the bed on the platform, an old couch that you find in an alleyway. Hell yeah. Yeah, I was always, as a kid, I was always jealous of, like, the movie character kids' bedrooms in movies. Like, you know the bedroom, I'll tell you another, like, Hey Arnold, obviously, but there was a movie called Little Dinosaurs. And there's a little rich kid in that movie. Little Dinosaurs movie? I'll never find it. But I think the movie is, it was, Prehistoria. It's called Prehistoria. Okay, here it is. Prehistoria 2 bedroom. Okay, I'll never find it. But in the movie Prehistoria 2, which came straight to VHS back in the 90s, it was like a rich kid, and he had this huge bedroom. I was so jealous of it. I don't know. And then the movie The Toy, it's another rich kid who had this really cool bedroom. I was always jealous of that. Or Richie Rich's bedroom. I was envious of that. So anyway, all right, guys, I think I'm going to wrap up the live show right there. After we talk about Drake and Josh's bedroom, I think we've officially run out of things to talk about in this live stream. But I will say, if you want, please, if you could, give the video a like. It does help that stupid YouTube algorithm. And I do want to say thank you guys so much for hanging out, for all the great and glorious questions tonight. I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. And I will see you guys very soon with another new live stream. So look out for that. We have been talking for 3.5 hours, so I think we had a very fulfilling live show tonight. And I want to say thanks for hanging out, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the questions. And as always, I hope you have a great Friday night. I hope you have an even better tomorrow. And take care. Have a good weekend. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.